Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, December 6, 2020. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1301.
This is No Agenda.
Pinning down dates and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're drinking instant coffee, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill.
Cheers. In the morning. Wait a minute. You are ground zero of the tyrannical lockdown in California, and that's all you got is your drinking coffee.
So I looked at I always look these orders up and actually read them. Nobody does that, the media especially.
Well, no, because they're exempt and they don't care.
No, actually, they're not exempt from this.
Oh, what, media's not exempt from this?
No, apparently everyone is.
Whoa, including protesters?
Oh, protesters are encouraged.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure we still have a shot.
And it is listed.
Okay, let us know what's in the order. How is your movement being restricted?
If you start to look at the order and read the document, you can go out and do whatever you want.
Wait a minute.
You're just discouraged.
Really?
Yeah, and the thing is, of course, all the restaurants and everything's closed. So if you go out and do whatever you want, what are you going to do? This is like my idea of going to Paris. I could love to get on a plane and go to Paris. What am I going to do? Be locked down for 14 days? Even if I wasn't locked down, what hotel am I going to stay? What am I going to do when I'm there? I can't go to a cafe. The Louvre is closed.
Right, but the shutdown of businesses and restaurants, that's being enforced.
Yeah,
okay,
that's being enforced.
But they're not enforcing people being outside. And do you have to wear a mask in your own bed? Is that part of the... No, I'm serious.
They wish.
It's possible. No?
Well, that's coming.
This order, which to me, just on its face, feels like, I'm probably wrong, but it feels like Gavin Newsom got caught being a dick. Everyone pointed at him and said, "You're a dick." And he went, "Oh, watch this." I mean, is there any other reason? Because what they're saying is completely ludicrous. The stay-at-home order is because you've crossed over the magical 15% free ICU bed space in hospitals, which, as we know, is really only a portion of all of the ICU beds.
It's an artificial construct.
Yes. So this isn't even a flattening of the curve or anything like that. This is just saying, well, we've passed 15%. If we're below 15% capacity, then we have to lock down until January 4th. This is not even based on science. This is based on hospital management. Well, it's like, so do we just need more beds? Can we then be free?
So what they've done is they've implemented the harshest order, which is, again, like what I just said, is you can go float around if you want to, but you're discouraged from it. But you can. And so there's no media exemption because pretty much everyone can do what they want. But, again, there's nothing to do. So what would you do that? You might as well stay at home and eat or watch TV. There's only a few counties that have really put it into full force. Mm-hmm. All the counties in the Bay Area except San Mateo County.
Right, they're revolting.
Solano and Sonoma are still open. What?
San Mateo County is they are bucking the order.
That's the Silicon Valley. There's your irony.
Wait, that's the Silicon Valley guys in San Mateo?
Most of the Silicon Valley is in San Mateo County.
That's
Palo Alto, Redwood City.
Let's just douchebag them. Douchebag. So their fancy restaurants, they're all open there in San Mateo for the Silicon Valley set? Is that the deal?
Yeah, for outdoor. I'm pretty sure for outdoor dining you can eat in San Mateo County. Yes, you have to go there.
Real. This is on. Now, is there a general feeling in California that this is some kind of some Gavin Newsom?
That's the feeling.
Oh, so they're not angry at Gavin Newsom. They're thankful for him locking them up. That's what you're saying. Uh-huh.
You got it.
In Los Angeles, these orders, including those of Mayor Garcetti, are presenting huge problems. This video went viral. I've tightened it up somewhat. This is a restaurant owner in Los Angeles who had created an outdoor restaurant with a little tent over it and some picnic tables right next to her restaurant, which has been shut down now with these orders. And, well, if you haven't seen it, she sees that 50 feet across the road, someone else did get a permit to open up an eating facility.
So this is my place, the Pineapple Hill Grill and Saloon. If you go to my page, you can see all the work I did for outdoor dining, for tables being 7 feet apart. And I come in today because I'm organizing a protest, and I came in to get stuff for that. And I walk into my parking lot, and obviously Mayor Garcetti has approved this being set up for a movie company. I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here. And people wonder why I'm protesting and why I have had enough. They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this. Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me as a slap in my face, that's safe. This is safe. 50 feet away, this is dangerous. Mayor Garcetti and Gavin Newsom is responsible for every single person that doesn't have unemployment, that does not have a job, and all the businesses that are going under. And we need your help. We need somebody to do something about this.
There you go.
Yeah, she's screwed. You know what they're going to do, right?
No, what are they going to do?
Nothing.
Who you mean, who is they in this case?
The government, her complaint is going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, well, we'll see. If that happened in Austin, I'd be out there. I'd be out there protecting this. Like New York, this is going to happen more and more. People just won't stand for it.
Is there anything left in New York?
No, New York. Well, Brooklyn, I think there's one restaurant that is, the last stand, and 4,000 people a night are now showing up to stop the sheriff from shutting them down. Tears will come of this. And people, as you said, though, that's very interesting. This order makes it feel and sound from a distance like you are locked down, shut up, slave, mask up, in your house, in your bed, be quiet, don't make waves, follow the rules. But yet you're completely allowed to do whatever you want as an individual.
I see no evidence to the contrary. If you start looking at the order, it's pretty much more of a strong suggestion for the public and a very strong, more than a suggestion for the businesses. So I can go outside right now and go to the store, walk around, wander down, and walk through the park.
Well, there is good news. As you know, the Freedom Pass is on its way, and we'll get into that a little more. But just so we all know, there is a COVIDFreedomPass.com website, which you can use to get out of this mental jail that you've been placed in, this mental prison. COVIDFreedomPass.com. That, of course, redirects to NoAgendaShow.com. This is one of the better forwards I've seen. I really like COVIDFreedomPass.com because we're setting you free in your head. That's all. It's perfect. So these arguments are spilling over everywhere. And as you and I know, whenever we have an argument on the show, people always resort to this very childish, literally childish remark of, I hate it when mommy and daddy are fighting, which to me means...
That's a new voice for you.
Thank you. I can do it again. I hate it when mommy and daddy are fighting. You sure that's a new voice? I think I've had that one for a while.
I think it's it's got a little tremolo in it that I think makes it work.
Okay, because I'm really sad. And I always say the reason why you feel that way and uncomfortable is because this is how adults actually resolve issues and move on. And you don't see that on television. You see phonies with phony arguments, feigning phony outrage. It's not real. That's why it doesn't feel uncomfortable. So it hits the listener, the producers of the show, hits them in such a sensitive spot that they immediately equate that to mommy and daddy fighting. There was a really good...
which is the problem. I think you've identified... I always just ignored these comments because, I think people think they're being cute, but it's possible that you've nailed a sociological issue that is serious.
Yes. There's no examples of what good discourse is. Phony discourse, which is what you see on television. Is that not exactly the same?
Watching a play.
Yeah, but isn't that exactly what you see on Twitter when people argue? It's just bull crap. They're just yelling back and forth. There's no resolution. It's not adult behavior. It's stupid. Now, this descended to an incredible, for me, a high, for many a low on CNBC. You probably saw this. I think it's worthwhile to play the entire clip in context because it was
I'd love to play the entire clip.
Yeah, because it was just clipped here and there. And if you haven't seen it, this is Rick Santelli, who has always been kind of a troublemaker on CNBC.
He's always been a screamer, yeah.
And he's appreciated for it. I think in the 2008 financial meltdown, he was yelling every single day, and he was telling us
his complaint. I'll give a briefing on this.
Yeah,
his complaint during 2008, which I thought was unwarranted, but he did it. Which is that the people who got suckered into these stupid subprime mortgages and then lost their houses, and he said they're idiots and they deserve what they got.
Yeah,
very unsympathetic to the fact that most of them were victims of sales pitches, which is something I'm somewhat sympathetic toward. Anyone who gets sold down the river, or kind of buy into it because they're, I don't know, not necessarily a bad person, but he really was very accusatory. I thought he was unfair personally, but in this situation, he's with, I believe, David Sanger.
No, it's Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Oh, Sorkin. I'm sorry. Sanger or Sorkin. I don't know. They're both from the New York Times.
Yeah.
And Sorkin's from the New York Times, and he's an old New York Times hack, and he would be part of the system.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he somehow the golden boy on CNBC? What has he done that has made him so revered? People, Andrew Ross Sorkin. Oh, Andrew Ross Sorkin.
We could waltz over to the Wikipedia and check him out, but he is a New York Times golden boy there. And he was, in fact, I remember talking about him and with some other New York Times reporters. And, he was one of these guys that was going to be bureau chief, which I think he became maybe from Hong Kong. So he went all over the world, if you know what that means. Hong Kong, and then he was going to be...
I remember. It's because he co-wrote Too Big to Fail, including the movie adaptation, and he's the co-creator of Billions. That's why. Because of course, it's a Hollywood connection.
And so he was going to be... He was on the fast track to become like the editor of the New York Times, or the executive editor, or something like that. And then he was very successful with these books, and he got kind of full of himself. And so he once you do that at the New York Times, they'll just kick you to the curb. And so he's over now at CNBC as there. But CNBC, unless he can't get out of CNBC, I don't see any. I think he's at a dead end. But.
Well, his problem is obvious. Why he didn't become editor of the New York Times? He doesn't have vocal fry. He's listened to the previous editor.
Obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
Yeah, that's Jill Abrams. If you want to be editor of the New York Times, that's the attitude you got to have. But no, instead, he threw on his Superman cape and flew around Rick Santelli, telling Rick Santelli that he's hurting people and it's dangerous and he has to intervene in his rant because this is bad for society and we need a public service announcement for health and safety of our viewers.
Believe me, I believe in careful. And when I point out governors cheating, it's not for the hypocrisy which exists. It's the fact that I think many of these governors...
Yeah, that's the point that I think a lot of people didn't hear. It started about the hypocrisy of the governors and the mayors. Mayor Adler in Austin jetting off to the family timeshare in Cabo when he told everyone to shut up and stay home. And then, of course, the Newsom and what is the
London Breed and London also Breed, the San Jose mayor.
All of these douchebags. And, they should just We should just go torch the French Laundry. This is not an instruction. This is not an instruction.
Well, they're doomed if that happens.
But if you want to get the attention of your government, burn down their favorite eatery. That would be a start. Anyway, back to the thing at hand.
Cheating, it's not for the hypocrisy which exists. It's the fact that I think many of these governors are intelligent people and they love their families, which they've taken out into restaurants. Therefore, there is actually and should be an ongoing debate as to, why a parking lot for a big box store like by my house is jam-packed. Not one parking spot open. Why are those people any safer than a restaurant with plexiglass? I just don't get it. And I think there's a...
And I don't think this has really been discussed. Maybe you and I have talked about it a couple of times, saying, why is this big box store safe and the rest isn't? We've talked about this. No one really discusses that.
I bitch about it.
Yeah, you do. You do.
And,
sorry.
Well, before we got to do a lot of setups here to make sure this works. Sorkin is going to defend the big box stores as being totally different.
Science.
And I think what you might make the argument, even though he doesn't do it, you might make the argument that, well, when you go into a Costco, which is open, it's almost like being outside. The roof is a mile high. There's a lot of airflow in there, and it's kind of like being outside. So it's different than a small boutique. And my complaint, of course, is that people can go into Target or Costco and buy clothes, but they can't go into a small boutique and buy clothes.
Right.
Now, that argument about the big box store, I want people to keep in the back of their mind the concept that Target doesn't have these ceilings.
Correct.
Target is just, as far as I'm concerned, a department store.
Agreed.
So why are they open?
Agreed. No, they're Target. Remember, this is a financial show where they're meant to hype certain stocks.
Yeah, well, there's that.
To make sure people buy them.
Open. Why are those people any safer than a restaurant with plexiglass? I just don't get it. And I think there's a million of these questions that could be asked. And I think it's really sad that when we look at the service sector and all the discussions we've had about job losses, that particular dynamic isn't studied more, isn't worked more. We don't put more people in a room and try to figure out ways so that these service sector employees and employers could all come back in a safer way. You can't tell me that shutting down, which is the easiest answer, is necessarily the only answer.
Rick, I just as a public health and public service announcement.
This is my favorite. As a public health and public service announcement, I'm Andrew Ross Sorkin, and I have written billions. So let me tell you what the science is.
For the audience, the difference between a big box retailer.
Who is this?
Hey, who's that jamoke?
Hold on. The difference between it's Andrew.
Who else?
The difference.
I like how the co-host saying, "Who else, man? You know who it is? It's that douche. Who else could it be?"
Between a big box retailer, hold on. The difference between a big box retailer and a restaurant, or frankly, even a church, are so different. It's unbelievable.
Oh, really? A church?
I disagree. I disagree.
You're wearing
You can
a mask.
have your thoughts, and I
You're
can have mine.
You're required to wear a mask.
I disagree.
It's science. I'm
Science.
sorry. It's science. You're wearing a mask.
See, that's the problem. Damn it. Whenever you and I disagree over something, John, the way you used to end arguments online was, "You're Hitler." You don't do that anymore. You just say, "It's science." If you say that, then end of discussion, because you can't dispute science.
Science.
It's a different story.
500 people at a Lowe's aren't any safer than 150 people in a restaurant that holds 600. I don't believe it. Sorry. Don't believe it. And I live in an area where there's a lot of restaurants that have fought back and they don't have any problems. And they're open.
Okay. You don't have to believe it, but let me just say this. You're doing a disservice to the viewer, because the viewers need to understand it.
You are doing a disservice to the viewer. You are. You are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would like to keep our viewers as healthy as humanly possible. The idea of packing people into restaurants.
I think our viewers are smart enough to make part of those decisions on their own.
Completely different
I don't
things.
think that I'm much smarter than all the viewers, like some people do.
Can I get in here, please, and get back to the jobs report?
I don't like mommy and daddy fighting.
How's that working out for you, Rick? How's it all working out for you? I mean, look at the numbers, Rick.
And then this guy, Rick, look at the number. This guy is who is this? This is the fathead guy. Look at the numbers, Rick. How's that working out for you, Rick? Why don't you just say? He should have just added, "These people are dead because of Trump, Rick. You know that."
It's working out fine.
I think the numbers, Rick, belie Rick, the numbers show that the idea of let
it's
it
a
rip has not
horrible
worked all
thing,
that well.
and people are getting sick and dying.
not
I
worked all that
understand
well,
it.
Rick.
I just think the
I don't
way we
think- I
deal
think
with
if we
it
spent
isn't
the rest of
necessarily
the show
optimal.
talking about this, there would be no agreement. So let's move on from here.
The science is in.
Science!
He's done. They're going to fire him.
Sorkin or Rick?
Rick.
I don't think so.
Ah,
I mean, if they don't, then he's
Red Book it.
okay. All right, that's a worthy one. If they don't fire him, that will be the equivalent of having tenure on television. That's for sure. Because I hear what you're saying. Let me just see. Date is December 6, 2020. We have 11:31 a.m. JCD AC Rick Santelli fired.
Is it Santelli or
Santelli over COVID restrictions. Okay, it's in the book. I'm not going to dispute it. I'm not going to dispute it. The science, on the other hand, is being disputed in a number of interesting ways, and this one has cropped up recently in Ireland. As you can recall, Ireland has pretty much chained their population to their four-poster beds, closed down the pubs. That's like cutting off oxygen supply. Ireland, one of the most restrictive regulations, rule set that have been put in place. And there's this woman, Gemma Doherty, and she has spent a lot of time going around to, she kind of looks like the Code Pink lady. What's her name again? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Needs to wash her hair.
Yeah, it's the flashy, the flaccid kind of blondish hair, thin hair. And she's spent time going around Ireland exposing on video that the hospitals are empty. Which, of course, we've seen this.
You can do that anywhere.
Yeah, you can, but she's been doing it.
Except there's always one or two places where you can't, and that's where they send the cameras.
Yeah.
In fact, that reminds me, and I have to do this, and I feel remiss for not doing it because I've been thinking about it for days on end.
All right.
Is the NBC, CBS, and ABC show people getting tested, and they show a line of cars.
Yeah.
You can't show this on the show but it's been a line of cars a mile long into like a football field, lined up for hours to get tested.
Yeah. And I think it's the same line they show for the food bank.
It might be. But I can go to Berkeley. I'll go to Berkeley this week and take a picture of the testing, car line testing thing there.
Right.
There's nobody there. It's always empty.
But this isn't even testing. This is what's happening, in the wards. It's just not there. They've cut back on personnel.
No, I'm just saying you can find places where there's a long line, and that's where you send the cameras.
Yes. So Gemma Doherty is out and about, and she posted this one video, a most recent one, in front of Ireland's public health building, one of these big elite Illuminati-like structures. And she had some interesting evidence, which is very reminiscent of a previous time with the same actors on the stage.
I'm here because I have some very important information to impart in relation to a development that has happened in the United Kingdom. You know that for the last 8 months, I have been entering hospitals in this state and exposing the fact that they are empty. My latest one in the matter has gone viral worldwide. And of course, we know it is the case that these hospitals have never been emptier, probably in the history since Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael took over. We know that at this time of year, our hospitals are normally packed to the gills, as they are in late February, March, April, at the end of the winter season. But they were empty then, and they are empty now. So people are right to question whether this virus actually exists. But we now, in Europe for the first time, have the scientific proof that it does not exist. And this is thanks to a Department of Health letter that has been received following a request by a citizen in the UK, which he actually had to appeal. but he requested the Department of Health and Social Care in the United Kingdom to give him scientific proof of the existence of a virus called SARS-CoV-2. And they confirmed, and I will read it now to you, that the Department of Health and Social Care does not hold any information on the isolation of a SARS-CoV-2 virus. In other words, it does not exist.
Yeah, this is a real mind bender. And this is actually what David Icke was talking about at the beginning of this months and months and months ago, that the PCR test is just rigged. It's not meant to be a test, but the PCR process is rigged to show fragments of a coronavirus, and is then saying, well, you've got SARS-CoV-2, but no one has actually isolated the virus. And this is exactly what happened in the late 80s and 90s with HIV. They never came up with the isolated virus. They could never show it. Now, about 3 years ago, there's been some paper released that complicated, in a very complicated manner shows, oh yeah, it's there or something. But in general, you can read book after book after book, and you just won't find it. And it's the same people. And they had the PCR test for HIV back in the day. And my personal opinion is that people died from the rejected chemotherapy AZT that they were giving these patients. They went in very similar to the ventilator story. Like, you test positive, you go into the hospital, and you never come out.
You're dead.
And I think there's something to this. I'm not a virologist, not an immunologist, or any of those ologists.
Can't even say it.
I can't even pronounce it, let alone have a diploma in it. But I'm suspicious of that.
Well, there's a lot of things to be suspicious about. The existence of the virus, I believe it does exist. I don't think it's come from an animal. I think it was made in the lab, and they can't find an animal with it until they do.
Why haven't they been able to isolate it then? Why is that something that's
I don't know
hard
that that's true.
Well,
I don't know that that's true. I don't know that that's true.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure. I got you.
I just hear this now, but I do know this is true. When the first reports came out in April or March, April, and they were showing all these lines at the hospitals, there were numerous YouTubers who'd go out to those same hospitals the next day, and we saw that they made those videos, reported on this, and there was no line of ambulances at those hospitals. There was no ambulance. There was nothing there. And then they went into the hospital. Some of them went in with their cameras, and they found nobody in the place. The place was pretty much emptied.
Right.
There was this example has happened a number of times. I have a friend who works at in Cornwall at the National Health Service, and she reports back that the hospitals are empty. And you keep hearing this, but then there are hospitals which are reported to be full, and they can be documented to be full. But they seem to be the outliers, along with those long car lines. So there's something fishy about this whole thing.
Those hospitals are the ones that are better lit, I guess. Better lighting for the shot.
Lighting crew.
Better lighting for the shot. Yeah, you got to light it up. Speaking of
this sort of thing is, and to see this report again, I actually had my hair cut.
Wow!
The other day,
woo!
I know. And the guy who cut my hair, I saw him I said I was trying to go a year, but I couldn't manage it with no haircut.
Wait, you'd been a year without a haircut?
No, I said I was going for a year. I couldn't get a year.
How long did you go?
March.
Not bad. Was it down to your shoulders?
It was getting there, but it was really just scrambling. I looked like an old witch. But I was. I bet
you did.
Yeah. And so I talked to this guy, and he was going to get an operation on his back.
Yeah.
Just before the whole thing broke out, and they wouldn't let anybody in. And then he got his operation during the middle of the crisis, and he says he went into the hospital because for elective surgery, which is being done, this place is dead empty.
Yeah.
He said it was great. You go in there, you get nothing but, everybody's, you're there, you're getting a good service. So, I mean, these stories are not bullcrap stories.
Well, in more health-related news and numbers from Sir Arcane Code, he heard us talking about the ambulance services and why they were in financial trouble, which we both found indeed kind of weird. Like, seems like these guys would be
no
busy.
sense.
Well, he has a rundown for us. He has some friends who work for an ambulance service. Turns out less than half of their business comes from emergencies. The majority of ambulance services is for mundane calls, taking someone from a nursing home to their doctor and back. That's a big one. Patient from hospital to a rehab facility, or transferring between hospitals. So when hospitals shut down everything except COVID-related procedures, and this comes down back to our point, it shut down all the more mundane services, and so no more need for ambulance. In general, at least around the Birmingham, Alabama area of the services, many are hurting financially. That makes sense. And we're going, good. And when this ends, when, I guess after the 100-day mask mandate from Joe, you're going to see, then you're going to see hospitals overrun when everybody comes back to get treated for all the crap they didn't go. Yeah. If they're still alive, that's when it's going to be bad.
There's all this elective surgery that's been backing up.
Yep, you bet.
Now's the time, people. Go in now.
In the EU, this could have been a Curry Dvorak consulting group exit strategy. I am beating myself over my head that we missed this opportunity. I'm very, very disappointed in myself, in you as a consulting partner, founding consulting partner, and probably very disappointed in our associates, known as producers of the show, that no one came up with this.
This must be really bad. You're scolding everybody.
97-year-old Colette Dupas, a nursing home resident in Jumont, France, has been taking precautions against COVID-19. She's been limited to speaking with her family via video call or through a window, but now Dupas is able to feel their touch through plastic thanks to an inflatable tunnel known as the Hug Bubble.
Baby, it even has one of our names, the Hug Bubble. This thing is fantastic. We could have manufactured them overnight.
Dupas' daughters recently visited her, putting one arm through an airtight sealed plastic sleeve to reach their mother and stroke her hair. Stephanie Lazo is an assistant at the nursing home.
It has brought comforts. Residents would see their relatives through a window or through a camera, and they were really missing having real contact, and they are getting a lot of love.
Before Dupas' daughters left, they took turns kissing their mother on the cheek through the plastic. After guests leave, an employee disinfects the plastic sheet to prepare for another loving encounter in the Hug Bubble.
Do you see the problem? Do you see the problem? Hug Bubble.
It is disgusting.
I mean, it's all it is it's a bouncy house, a clear plat without the colorful pieces, a bouncy house castle with two arms, and then your granny comes up. You can stroke her hair with the plastic. It's beyond sad. Ugh. Very, very, very upset we didn't come up with that. Damn it. Now, before I go into
after that big lead, and I'm less.
You're not that upset. You didn't like. I think it's a huge moneymaker.
I would have been embarrassed to be part of a company like that.
Called the Hug Bubble Company? This has a future, baby. This has a future. Unfortunately, the domain name is gone, so we couldn't get that. Before I get into vaccines, I think you may have a couple of reports to run through. I did want to make mention that very observant producers have noticed in several of the Bill Gates videos that he does from his office when he's doing the interviews and he's talking about how the severe pain will hurt you from the vaccine. People noticed he had a stack of books next to him on his bureau. And do you know what book is almost right on top, one below the top one? It's a book called How to Lie with Statistics.
What an embarrassment.
And it's available on Amazon. And I will give you the blurb. There is terror in numbers, writes Daryl Huff in How to Lie with Statistics, and nowhere does this terror translate to blind acceptance of authority more than in the slippery world of averages, correlations, graphs, and trends. Huff sought to break through the daze that follows the collision of statistics with the human mind with this slim volume first published in 1954. The book remains relevant as a wake-up call for people unaccustomed to examining the endless flow of numbers pouring from Wall Street, Madison Avenue, and everywhere else someone has an axe to grind, a point to prove, or a product to sell. The secret language of statistics, so appealing in a fact-minded culture, is employed to sensationalize, inflate, confuse, and oversimplify. I've ordered it.
Yeah. Definitely. This is our book.
So that's what Gates is doing. He's lying with statistics, as is everybody else. Everybody.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think many of them are very sincere.
Oh, okay. But they're confused about what they're presenting because someone else gave them the
Somebody
statistics.
in the background is lying with statistics and hornswoggling the idiots. Yeah.
Yes. Well, do you want to get in vaccines, or I see you have a couple of reports?
I have some. Let me look at what we got here. I have a bunch of COVID. There's some good stuff here, actually.
No, groovy.
Let's start with the grim news from NBC. You get it like a feeling for what's going on.
Okay.
Good evening. We've been running out of ways to say grim new milestone when talking about COVID. It's now so far beyond that.
Yeah.
This week, it surpassed heart disease as our country's top killer.
Really?
Today, more drastic measures to try to slow the spread. Southern California is now set to go into full lockdown, issuing a stay-at-home order to begin tomorrow at midnight. And more states and regions may not be far behind as the unbearable burden on our nation's healthcare workers grows.
Guys, going for the Emmy.
Turn this crap off, people. Do not watch this.
This guy.
Jeez.
You're right. You want to hear something good?
You know what happened? You're right. They all saw Cuomo get his Emmy. They're like, oh, hold my beer. I can do better than that. I can do this.
Now he's acting.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Unbearable is horrible. Yeah.
It's unbearable. Well, here you want to hear your top actress.
Amy.
If I can use that term. Here we go. COVID report, Amy.
Woohoo, Amy, come on in.
The United States has set yet another world record for daily coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, with over 216,000 infections confirmed Thursday and more than 2,800 deaths.
Hold on. When she says confirmed, what exactly does that mean?
Well, let's listen to one of our Canadian producers who said, do you know that in Canada, this is semi-scandalous, is that when you're in an emergency room, you check into the hospital for like broken leg and bleeding.
Yes.
They give you a COVID test. If you test positive, they put it on the record. If you die from your broken leg and bleeding, you died of COVID. And it's a confirmed case because you had a test.
Right, but she's talking about confirmed cases who were not in hospital, just confirmed cases.
I don't know what she says deaths, confirmed deaths.
Oh, des. Yes. And because you had such excellent use of reverb, I'm going to start it over again.
The United States has set yet another world record for daily coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, with over 216,000 infections confirmed Thursday and more than 2,800 deaths. Nearly 101,000 people are hospitalized with COVID-19 across the U.S. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom has imposed sweeping remain-at-home orders covering the vast majority of California's population.
Just in the last 14 days, close to 1,000 Californians have lost their lives due to COVID-19. The bottom line is if we don't act now, our hospital system will be overwhelmed. If we don't act now, we'll continue to see a death rate climb.
Governor Newsom's order came a day after Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti warned Los Angeles is nearing a devastating tipping point, ordering residents to remain at home and skip social gatherings in order to prevent needless suffering and death. In Rhode Island, officials have opened 2 field hospitals with a combined 900 beds to relieve hospitals as COVID cases hit new record highs. Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo says the problem now is finding enough medical workers to handle the surge. On Thursday, she appealed to retired and unemployed healthcare workers to join the effort.
Wow. First of all, dynamite. We're both going to hell for this. You realize that people will think we are the worst human beings in the universe to put echo and mock death. But notice how she said they're going to run out of employees and they're going to go get, and she says first retired and then unemployed. Yeah. Why don't you reverse it? Bring all the ones you laid off. That's what's going on here.
Yep. Yeah. This is a fault. This is like unbelievable the way they pulled this off.
So fake.
Fake. It's fake. Let's play part 2.
But I'm happy that California is dumb enough to shut down.
Others will follow.
We'll see.
The first day I'm inaugurated to say I'm going to ask the public for 100 days to mask.
Mask up!
Just 100 days to mask. Not forever, 100 days. And I think we'll see a significant reduction if we occur that occurs with vaccinations and masking to drive down the numbers considerably.
Researchers at the University of Washington project the U.S. coronavirus death toll could reach nearly 540,000 by April 1st. The same researchers recently projected that if 95% of Americans wore masks consistently, over 68,000 lives would be saved by March 1st.
Now, I want to mention something here.
Wait, they just said did saved or created. How many lives we're going to save? Is that what she just said?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Let me just hear that last bit again. That's important information.
Over 68,000 lives would be saved by March 1st.
Wow, so they've got it down to that much science. So masks work so well that if we wear them for 100 days, 68,000 people will be saved or created by March 1st. In fact,
here's the thing that is ignored. The San Francisco Bay Area, especially Alameda County, which incorporates Berkeley and Oakland, all very Democrat. We're masked up.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, maxed up. There are people driving around with masks in their cars. There's people jogging with masks. There's bicyclists going down, driving around on the bike lane, and they got a mask on. So what's the deal here? We're wearing masks like no other part of the country. This is mask central. Yet we're in the purple zone where we have to shut down and shelter in place and stay at home. How does that work? I don't see the evidence for this. This sounds like bull crap because we are masked up. If we were like, if Berkeley and Oakland were all like, well, you guys can do whatever you want now because you've been good little boys and girls and you've masked up and you stayed social distance and you have all these spots on the street where you stand here and you stand there. We've done that. Nothing. It didn't help. So this is bull crap. Just a little side rant there for you.
Yeah, there's a video from some UK data scientists, and they're running the numbers of cases and deaths in the UK. And no matter which way they ran the numbers, they see a marked increase in cases and subsequently some deaths at one specific date. And no matter which way they look at the numbers, I'll put it in the show notes so you can see. It's not clippable because it's boring and you can't see it. The exact day that masks were mandated in the UK is when the cases and deaths started to increase.
Well, I had those graphs in the newsletter about 5 shows ago.
From the UK?
Everywhere, all over the world, this is evident. When you see where the masks were mandated, all the numbers started going up because they started testing more.
Yeah.
So that's bogus. But let's listen to. I got 2 more clips and we're out of here.
Well, I got some vaccine stuff, but yeah.
Oh, no, I want to hear the vaccine stuff. I have nothing.
Okay.
First of all, let's play this one. I have a world report, which gives us a wrap around the world with Amy giving us all the world, everyone's going to die.
Italy.
But I want to play this one because this one is a suspicion. This is the COVID farm workers clip. And I want you to pay careful attention to this and give me the rationale. I don't know why they even mentioned it, but it's something fishy about this report.
Back in the United States, California's farm workers have contracted COVID-19 at nearly 3 times the rate of other state residents. That's according to a new study by the University of California, Berkeley researchers, the first report to explore how farm workers are disproportionately affected by the pandemic. The report also found farm workers who only spoke an indigenous language had higher positivity rates than farm workers who spoke Spanish or English.
Did you hear that?
What? So
what is that supposed to mean?
It depends what language you speak. Let me listen.
The report also found farm workers who only spoke an indigenous language had higher positivity rates than farm workers who spoke Spanish or English.
So what I take away from that at face value is we're not communicating in the right languages because indigenous people, I don't know what that means, but around the world it could be all kinds of things. American Indians, Aborigines, I guess because we don't communicate to them properly, or maybe she's insinuating they're stupid.
I think she's insinuating they're stupid. They should learn English.
Or Spanish.
Or Spanish even.
That is a weird one.
I mean, I don't think she thinks she's doing that.
No, but that's in the report, so you might as well.
I mean, what else could it mean? Because the problem with Amy and that entire news operation, if you want to call it that, is news reading, is they never try to explain anything. They're just almost like flat reporters. They report and they leave you hanging. Like, why? They leave you, reporting is who, what, when, where, and why. They always leave the why out. There's never a why answered. And there was a good example right there. Why?
Yeah. Huh.
I want to know why. Democracy Now! Never addresses why. And when they do, it's usually just with some propaganda.
Didn't Democracy Now!, don't they have a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation?
Oh, they got grants from everybody. We should be so lucky.
Well, I'm just stating that for people who are new coming to the show because you heard about it during the Rona, or maybe you saw me on the Joe Rogan or whatever it is. Go take a look at Event 201. People have asked, hey, have you seen this? It's crazy. They set this up. Yeah. Hello, 10 months ago. And if you go to bingit.io, BINGIT.io, that is the official No Agenda Show search engine, of which there are many, but this is one I use. And you put in Event 201, you will get John's clips, which were excellently categorized, and many more articles, etc., about this. And so that would make sense that Democracy Now! Is a part of the live version of Event 201. She'll say whatever. That's the problem with money. It has control. It has control.
It's the problem with corporate money with an agenda.
There you go.
Money itself is fine. All right. The last one. Here's our world report. Around the world, let's swing from country to country, and it's always locking down. I don't know what's going to happen.
Italy recorded 993 new COVID-19 deaths Thursday, a daily record. The Italian government's declared a national curfew and said Thursday it will bar people from traveling between regions over the Christmas and New Year holidays. Iran's official coronavirus cases count top 1 million on Thursday. In October, a member of Iran's medical association said the true death toll in Iran could be 4 times higher than the official number, which now stands at nearly 50,000. In the Gaza Strip, officials have ordered schools and mosques to close as part of a partial lockdown, as more than 800 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed Thursday. Among those infected are senior members of Hamas, including its leader, Yahya Sinwar.
What? Hamas has been infected. She's got to stop saying people are infected. It's just not true. Because the PCR shows something doesn't mean you're infected and seething with virus.
I'm telling you, I think they'd put an end to this real quick if they made them check everyone with the same exact test, with the same, the same cycles for AIDS and tuberculosis and maybe a half dozen other
People
things.
wouldn't want to test so fast, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, because you're going to come up positive.
Even the Baltimore Ravens, they had their guys test positive. And as part of the shaming, as we know, it's like, well, you clearly didn't do it right. You didn't mask up. You didn't follow the rules. You're probably a Republican, Trump lover. That's why you're sick. So they had to counter that narrative. Well, it's true. They had to counter that narrative, and they came up with a good one, which is, there were at least 4 unique strains of COVID-19 found inside our facility. 3 of the 4 were stopped and not spread. Unfortunately, the 4th was a highly contagious strain and spread throughout before we could get to it. I mean, this is the thing. This is fantasy. Fantasy. And for those of you in question, if you test positive, if you feel sick, if you contract this virus, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's
well, I think
impossible.
that that guy. Well, that's like the guy we played that clip from, that YouTuber who was crying in his beer while driving around. Oh no, I did everything right. I still got it. I think a lot of people that have that kind of attitude and have that kind of reaction make themselves sick. I think yes, there's got to be a good portion of COVID sufferers that are psychosomatic.
Oh, definitely. And that's what the undercover nurse told us in March as well. So people coming in have severe anxiety. That's why they have heart palpitations, shortness of breath. They're freaking out in New York at the time.
It's still going on. The media has done nothing. You can take this like stock market reports. You can take a look at anything up or down and spin it in a positive manner or a negative manner. They have done nothing. And you can spin this entire situation in a very positive manner if you wanted to, but they don't want to.
No, of course not. This is an excellent example of shaming, certainly at the end of the clip. And it also shows you that you do not want to mess around in Maryland, as a guy is going to jail for a year.
Sean Marshall Myers will spend a year in jail in Charles County, Maryland. He was arrested around 7 months ago after officers found more than 50 people hanging out around a bonfire at his home when COVID restrictions were at their strictest.
And this gentleman, it was ridiculous.
Charles County State's Attorney Tony Covington tells me police arrested Myers at his home for refusing to comply with Governor Larry Hogan's emergency order against large gatherings of more than 10 people at the beginning of the pandemic in March. The sheriff's office says it was the second time Myers hosted a large gathering at his house, and he was accused of being argumentative with officers in both times. Today, Myers was sentenced to 1 year in jail, a $5,000 fine, and 3 years unsupervised probation.
These decisions were made for the public good, for people's safety. We've got 200,000 people dead because of the attitudes that Mr. Myers demonstrated that particular day.
That's the problem. Whoever that guy is, F you, brother.
Well, and that's that Hogan character. We brought him into the show some time ago when he was interviewed by Margaret Hoover. And the two of them were just hating on Trump. And he's a Republican. He's like one of these worse than a rhino types. Guy's a creep.
Yeah, but this is the narrative is 200. Now it's 300,000 people are dead because of people like you. Because of you. Now, you thought that adding a little bit of reverb to Amy talking about how the United States is number one would be great. But we're
number one.
It's nothing compared to the UK health minister who really, really knows they're number one, as the UK is the first to administer the vaccine.
And lastly, did the fact that Britain is in the process of and has Brexited, did that mean we got the vaccination, a world first, ahead of the US and the EU? Yes or no, do you believe, Secretary of State?
Well, I just reckon we've got the very best people in this country, and we've obviously got the best medical regulators, much better than the French have, much better than the Belgians have, much better than the Americans have. That doesn't surprise me at all, because we're a much better country than every single one of them.
So it did help that we've Brexited finally.
Yeah, Is someone lying when they do that? Let's listen again.
That doesn't surprise me at all, because we're a much better country than every single one of them.
So it did help that we've Brexited finally, Secretary.
I think just being able to get on with things, deliver it, and be brilliant people.
No, it's just a stutter, right? It's not. There's no underlying meaning. The guy's going to full-on CPU overload. It's like his hard drive isn't writing fast enough. Yeah, let's finish.
In our medical regulator, making it happen means that people in this country are going to be the first ones in the Western world to get that Pfizer, or in the world to get that Pfizer vaccine. Real competitive advantage. But do you know who it's down to? It's down to those brilliant clinicians in the regulator who's made it happen so fast.
So this is a problem, because this is not just a vaccine. This is not any vaccine. It's the Pfizer vaccine. This,
I like the plug,
will not stand. As we know, the eggs are in the Moderna basket, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one that Fauci has a patent, is a part of the patent. That's how it works, by the way. It's all above board. When the National Institutes of Health and certainly Fauci's Department of Death, when they work on stuff with the pharmaceuticals, they are listed and added to the patents and get payments. They get royalty payments for that. So Fauci, he poo-pooed it. And he said, this is maybe not the smartest thing to do. The BBC has a very good report of what he said that offended, and the rather lengthy ass-sucking he did to get back in good graces with Pfizer, because it has nothing to do with you, UK, has nothing to do with your health or the vaccine. It only has to do with the money and the promotion of Pfizer, which we identified on the show was the one to win, according to our insiders. Now Moderna has not rolled out yet. That has not been the choice of the UK, and it's a problem for Dr. Fauci.
The UK announced yesterday it will become the first country in the world to approve that vaccine, meaning mass injections can begin next week in Britain. In defending the approach of America's regulator, which is more cautious, Dr. Anthony Fauci initially took a swipe at Britain, accusing its regulators of taking a shortcut in an interview on CBS News.
If we had jumped over the hurdle here quickly and inappropriately to gain an extra week or a week and a half, I think that the credibility of our regulatory process would have been damaged, and we would have had more people. You know, I love the Brits. They're great. They're good scientists. But they just took the data from the Pfizer company, and instead of scrutinizing it really, really carefully, they said, okay, let's approve it. That's it. And they went with it.
Now, how about that, huh? He's
giving it to him.
And I think the most egregious accusation is, they just took on face value what was in the
they took the
Pfizer
sheet, read it and said, okay, we're good to go.
Hey, Pfizer says it's good. Let's go. We're good.
They believe whatever they were told, those idiots.
So transparent what is going on here.
Well, after blistering criticism from across the Atlantic in the UK, Dr. Fauci told me earlier that he apologizes for those comments and he has the utmost respect for his UK scientific colleagues.
Now listen to this suck-up job.
First of all, there really has been a misunderstanding. And for that, I'm sorry and I apologize for that. I do have great faith in both the scientific community and the regulatory community at the UK, and anyone who knows me and my relationship with that over literally decades know that's the case.
Pfizer, I really do love you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I was just promoting my own house. I know I've got other deals with you. I'm sorry.
The point that was really trying to make, and I did not make it appropriately well, and that's the reason why I welcome the opportunity to get on your show.
Wow. Is this I've never heard him suck like this.
And say that I do have confidence it came out wrong, and that was not the way I meant it to be. In the United States, there is such a considerable amount of tension of pushing back on the credibility of the safety and of the efficacy that...
Notice what he's doing. The problem is not that Fauci is a commercial a-hole. The problem is Americans are conspiracy thinkers. That's the problem, you see, because we don't trust the vaccine. So, yeah, I mean, it's really the Americans. Please, just don't. I didn't mean that. It's their fault.
If we in the United States had done it as quickly as the UK did, and that's no judgment on the way the UK did it, and even though my statements did come across looking that way, that if we had, for example, approved it yesterday or tomorrow, there likely would have been pushback on an already scrutinizing society that has really, I think, in some respects in the United States, too much skepticism about the process. So when we had conversations, and I had just had a recent conversation with a UK station, the first thing they said was, aha, we beat you to it. We won the race. And I wanted to get the point. This is not a race where there's one winner and one good one and one bad one. It's a bunch of companies and a bunch of countries trying as best as possible to get vaccine to their citizens as quickly and as they could possibly.
Suck up some more.
We're trying to do that in the United States, but our process is one that takes more time than was taken with the UK. And that just is the reality. I did not mean to apply any sloppiness, even though it came out that way. So if it did, I just want to set the record straight. I have a great deal of confidence in what the UK does, both scientifically and from a regulatory standpoint. If I somehow came across differently, I apologize.
Hey, stop already.
Yes.
Now, you know what this is all about, right?
Well, there is something, but I don't know if it's what you're thinking.
I know. It was a simple phone call from the Pfizer rep that has the CBS account.
Of course.
The media buyer. Hello, CBS.
We can't have
Hello,
that.
CBS. We heard what you put on the air that kind of demeaned our company when your Mr. Fauci, the expert there, said that they just read our tech sheet and we're liars. And I want to point out to you something. Have you looked at the balance sheet of how much advertising money we spend with your network compared to Moderna?
For our boner pills?
How much does Moderna spend with your network?
Zero. They've never done anything.
So are you going to sit there and let this kind of stuff pass? We're not going to put up with it unless you want us to pull all the ads, every ad we do with every subsidiary and every company we have anything to do with. We're going to pull from CBS and move it over to NBC. Is that what you're asking us to do?
I'm sorry.
They're on the phone. That ends real fast.
Sorry. Of course. There is an actual problem. According to the literature from Oxford, that the Pfizer vaccine may result in sterilization. Which
I get that one. There's that, and don't forget there's the other one that may only last 90 days.
Well, yes, that's another good one. But the sterilization has put the conspiracy theories into high gear, obviously.
I have not heard this.
Oh, yeah, it's good. And it's backed up, I think, poorly, but I did want to play this short clip by Sir John Bell of Oxford. He's also a member of Gavi, which is the vaccine alliance headed by Gates. The G is for Gavi. And SAGE, which is the advisory organization to the UK government. And he said this in an interview, which I think is old. I think it's at least a month old, but it's going around as, see?
So I'm hoping that's going to happen pretty smartly this autumn. But then don't forget, these vaccines are unlikely to completely sterilize a population.
Unlikely to sterilize the complete population. Now, I believe he meant as in that would clean you of any infection, these infected, but as a high-end sir, no less, from Oxford
This is why
doctor,
PR agencies exist.
Yeah, wouldn't he use a different term? Inoculated? Wouldn't that be the term? But he says sterilized. And it only plays into the classic Bill Gates TED Talk.
This equation has 4 factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to 0. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
He's always talking about having less people after saving their lives. I've never understood this. Now, there's a possibility that we can connect the dots. Vaccines will reduce the population. I don't see how that works, but he always puts it in the list of reproductive care and vaccines that will lower the population. And his reckoning with that is, well, in the poor countries, people have 18 children because they know half of them are going to die. So, I don't know, but you can see
his rationale for the whole thing.
You can see why, in combination with information from Pfizer itself, that they're not quite sure if this will sterilize people.
Sterilize the public.
Now, we have nothing to worry about because it doesn't matter what vaccine is showing up. Everyone's going to take it, especially you, Scandinavians. Here's your health minister again.
But will you, as the chief medical officer of health, in any way make some sort of mandatory vaccination recommendation?
So similar to all our immunization programs in the province of Ontario, and we have some special acts related to that, like the Immunization of School Pupils Act, etc. We can't force someone to take a vaccine. That's clear, and because we want to make sure that people say they only would want it. And we want to make sure we have all the information they need, as well as all the safety information, etc. What we can do is to say sometimes for access or ease in getting into certain settings, if you don't have vaccination, then you're not allowed into that setting without other protection and promote materials. So what may be mandatory is proof of immunization or vaccination with a proper product in order to have latitude and freedom to move around in certain, like to access into long-term care facilities or the hospital, different things, without wearing other types of form of personal protective equipment, etc. Same as with school attendance. It may be much like our other vaccines. We haven't gone there yet, but we would make it mandatory for access in, and sometimes being excluded if there's a risk or a hazard going on. So it's more of facility of movement and around that, not that someone is going to be forced to take it against their will.
So this is a reason to go to covidfreedompass.com and tell all your friends. It truly will free your mind of everything that you're being told. And it appears to me that we need to keep a very close eye on any stimulus or rescue package that may or may not come out before the end of the year. There's a lot of talk about it. And let's pay very close attention to what sectors that goes to. I guarantee you, if a lot of money is going into airlines, they probably will come up with some kind of requirement for proof of test or proof of vaccination, because it's government money. They will. Why have the government be the bad guy when you can just pay the commercial and sector to do it for you? Just like spying.
That's a good point.
Just like spying. It's the same thing. Why would we spy? We'll just buy it from you guys commercially. Stupid citizens give it to Facebook and Google and Twitter willingly.
Yep.
Not going to be so easy in the United States, particularly amongst the black and brown communities who are always talked about as such in the mainstream. Because the black and brown communities of America are not stupid, and they've learned from their own history. Tuskegee, anyone?
Distress in communities of color is not just a small-town problem, it's nationwide. A study conducted in September exploring the issue in black and Latino communities found just 14% of black people and only 34% of Latinos trust a vaccine will be safe.
It's like it's almost to me like a fear. Like I have a phobia of needles. I'm almost at that point where I have a phobia of doctors.
Carmen Bailey was diagnosed with COVID-19 in April. Bailey says she avoided medical help because she feels she has been poorly treated by doctors in the past. Now the grandmother of 3 suffers from adverse effects with her heart, lungs, and kidneys.
Some days I can barely walk, and I'm tired of hurting. I don't know what to do.
What she will not do is take a vaccine.
We don't know any kind of side effects from them. So I just really feel like at this point where it's people that's going to take that vaccine as guinea pigs.
You really think they're guinea pigs?
Yes.
I just feel like we don't know enough.
In the, I was looking at the Pfizer stuff, going through the sterilization part. There were, I think, only 15 African Americans in the entire trial of 30,000. I don't understand. That maybe I don't have the right data. But that seemed a little underrepresented to me. But we have nothing.
I saw numbers that seemed higher than that. There was a percentage, and it was something like, I thought it was 15%.
I may have misread it. But even then, that's a little low. Particularly because we know that they suffer disproportionately. But don't worry. We have help. It's all going to be okay. You know you're going to take the vaccine. And you know why? Because of this guy.
If Anthony Fauci tells me this vaccine is safe and can vaccinate, immunize you from getting COVID, absolutely I'm going to take it. I may end up taking it on TV or having it filmed just so that people know that, I trust this science.
He trusts the science.
By the way, very few people that are actually experienced in science, in other words, don't have a degree in science, never worked in science, never had anything to do with science, are the ones who say that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Now,
I want to read this. I want to read this little report we got from Anonymous. Hi, Adam. Here's the UAE cases. They continue to climb, but the government's opinion is that this is normal and they're opening everything. Restaurants, bars, gyms, weddings, house parties, and on. Schools have been open since September. Oh, and if you've ever been here, it's hot. I've been there. It's very hot. Damn hot, he says. So none of this outdoor dining rubbish. We're all inside in air-conditioned spaces, no problem. The downside is you can't talk about it. So nobody talks about it because of the authoritarian state, and it's not publicized.
Huh.
So everything's normal in lots of parts of the world, and because of, I don't know what the deal is with these. It's just annoying to me to know, and the government.
Yeah. I mean, look at us. Texas is open. We have no restrictions. Adler's trying to make some noise, but he can't. He's been totally discredited. And we're having a pretty damn good life. One of Tina's friends is over from Chicago. We went out last night. We went to Monger's Fish Market, which was open and as full as they can be. Of course, they do have some restrictions, but completely packed for what they've got. Meanwhile, the only thing open in California is, I think, the weed dispensaries are open, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that.
Yes, the weed dispensaries.
There's that for you.
Are definitely open.
So bad.
The French Laundry's open.
Yeah. Now, should there be a problem with compliance and people willing to take the vaccine, all we have to do is talk to Larry Lightfoot. I've learned from our Chicago friend, that's what they call her in Chicago now. Lori Lightfoot, Mayor Lori Lightfoot is known as Larry. And this is...
I thought they called her Beetlejuice.
I said that, but she said, no, everyone calls her Larry. Larry Lightfoot, which is bad enough, but don't have to go to the Beetlejuice. But she was asked about this, and, well, she knows exactly how to take care of this problem.
Would you support vaccine mandates?
Well, look, I always think it's better to educate people into compliance if we can, but we can't live in a world where only certain people are taking the vaccine and some are opting out. That won't help anybody, and that will perpetuate the spread of this incredibly deadly violent virus. So we're looking at a range of options, but our first choice, obviously, is educating people into compliance.
I love this term, educate. Yes.
How is it incredibly deadly when the stats clearly show that it's under 1%?
You need to be educated in compliance, young man. You haven't been paying attention. We need to educate you into compliance. Isn't that the same thing as telling people to obey?
You must obey.
No, it's you will obey.
You will obey. You will obey. You will obey.
Educate into compliance. That's
the re-education camp if you don't.
That's just rude.
If you don't pay careful attention.
Yes, the re-education camp. Let me see what else I have. The New York Times says the true pandemic toll in the U.S. is in reality 345,000. We haven't counted right, so shut up, slave.
Oh, yeah, we're low.
Yeah, we're low on the count.
By the way, I was looking over the Canadian producer who sent over this information about the COVID cases. I'm going to read this because I left an important piece of information out. There's a piece of information missing from the picture, or the hospitalizations caused by the COVID virus. It's talking about people that go to the hospital, they get tested. When they are hospitalized for whatever reason, and both situations have been added to the total. That apparently, I know here in Canada, everyone who is admitted to the hospital and tests positive with a PCR is added to the official hospitalization total of COVID patients,
even if they're not in there.
Symptoms, and the reason they're in the hospital wasn't the virus.
Yeah. This is a medical scam. Medical scam. Medical industry scam. Bah. One more thing on the vaccines. There's a fact sheet going around. Well, actually, what was this? This was about side effects from the vaccine. And, there's the typical things that, pain in the arm, pain in the ass, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of the literature is now changing some perception, or trying to change some perception. When we were looking at the vaccine industry, and just to recall how we got interested in it, I came across a financial conference in, was it 2010, I want to say? 2000, maybe even earlier, 2009.
It was during swine flu.
Okay.
So it had to be earlier.
Earlier than that. And it was a financial conference, and all the pharmaceutical companies, everyone agreed this was a hundreds of billions of dollar industry because we can make vaccines for everything in the future. This is really what Moderna is the.
By the way, this was that same era when you discovered this PowerPoint, that within a year they were coming out. Remember the vaccines for smoking,
cocaine addiction,
for overweight,
all of that.
None of them were vaccines in the least, but they were trying to get in under the umbrella of the liability issues,
right? Which is obviously still there. Now, with the vaccines, the one thing we bumped up against is the use of adjuvants. And adjuvants, we kind of concluded, if I recall, in our unscientific manner, were a little dodgy because they work as a form of hamburger helper to really kickstart
the exact same phrase you used back 10 years ago.
That's why I remember it. So now we have a subhead in these articles: vaccine adjuvants bring the danger we need. And they're explaining how, particularly with these mRNA vaccines, that your immune system still needs some kind of kickstart to start producing antibodies against whatever has invaded you. Spikes, yes. And that the mRNA may not be enough, so they add some of this adjuvant, which just makes your body think that you're being attacked. And we've seen some bad results from overuse of adjuvants. But now it's being here. Adjuvants are safe, but designed to inflame. So I think this is all part of the education process, which we've seen the survey, we've seen the reports, the studies. How do we teach people? So I think that's kind of good. They're going head on by addressing a lot of the concerns that people have by lying about them, which is great. So you just shouldn't worry about anything. We will re-educate you into compliance. And the final thing, just as a conspiracy report, there's a lot of links now connecting Anthony Fauci to Mother Teresa and child smuggling. So just so you know, that's out there. Apparently, Mother Teresa was not such a Mother Teresa after all.
No, Christopher Hitchens made a career out of blasting her at every chance he had. He just thought she was a horrible person.
Somehow I missed all that. I missed
lectured and lectured about this.
Huh.
It was pretty funny.
Because I certainly
he was the only one.
I certainly got the programming of how to think about Mother Teresa, but I didn't realize that she was so evil. I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying that's what we got going on.
She's a saint.
So to take us, I'd like to take a break in a minute, and then we got to come back because we have lots of election news. I'm going to spoiler up front. Everything is China's fault, just so you know. The Wuhan flu, the vote corruption and stealing and flipping, everything's China. It all points back to China. I'm letting you know now because that's what you'll be hearing over the course of the next 2 months. And let's kick it off with Gordon Chang, I think respected here on the show, who hates China, at least the Chinese Communist Party. And he knows exactly.
He's a major CCP hater.
He's a hater, and he knows exactly what China is doing.
Well, China's efforts to collect DNA of the world's population have been determined. I mean, they're not only collecting Chinese people's DNA, but they're collecting DNA of everybody else. So, for instance, they've been buying up American companies that have DNA profiles. Also, they subsidize the DNA analysis. So if you go to an ancestry company, chances are that it is actually a Chinese business that is looking at your DNA. And that, of course, can be shoveled on to the Chinese central government or Communist Party. Also, there's been hacking. We know that China hacked Anthem, which is America's second largest insurance company. That was discovered in January 2015. So there's so many different ways that China is collecting the DNA to make probably the world's biggest database of DNA of people on the planet. I think that China has at least two motivations. Well, first of all, we know that bio business is very important to them. They included it in their Made in China 2025 initiative, which is a decade-long program to dominate certain industries, including biotechnology. But also, there's something sinister about this, and that is we have heard reporting from Bill Gertz, for instance, in the Washington Times, that China is probably trying to develop diseases that target not just everybody, but target only certain ethnic or racial groups.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
And there you go, everybody. I'm glad that you went for your 23andMe DNA test. Good with your Ancestry.com DNA test. They're going to design diseases for you. Did we not warn for something like this? Did we not say this is a dumb idea?
Science fiction writers have been talking about a targeted genetic targeting.
Which this may have already been.
For years.
Which this may have already been.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Well, if we look at the fact that apparently nobody in China, if you're going to believe the numbers, has gotten you haven't gotten COVID-2, whatever you want to call it. They haven't caught this virus in the last 9 months. They're working at full capacity over there, and there's no cases, but everyone in the Western world is infected. Of course, then the whole thing could be a fake on both sides, but it's beside the point. If we are to take the numbers at their face value and assume it's all true, well, how come China has no cases at all?
Well, here's what I'd like to know. Where are the dead vaping people? That came and went so fast. Where are all the people who died from vaping?
They're in the same room where they got Hunter Biden's laptop.
Here's a theory I've been working on. So I vape constantly. I vape, and it's propylene glycol and nicotine, obviously, is in it. In these vaccines is also polyethylene glycol, which is not far from the stuff that is used for the theater smoke and the vaporization. These ACE2 receptors that we talked about way in the beginning, and there was difference in people who were smokers, did or didn't get the COVID. I have a feeling that a combination of certainly the nicotine and propylene glycol has been proven, we have lab tests, and you can look it up at beingit.io, has been proven to kill corona vaccine on the minute it comes in contact with
coronavirus.
Corona. Thank you. I'm doing a reverse here.
You're doing the same thing everyone else is doing.
No, I did a reverse. I said vaccine instead of virus.
Reverse.
Yeah. So that's better. But you're right. Stop me on that stuff. The ACE2 receptors, apparently, and I said it, is very similar. The nicotine somehow attracts the coronavirus. This is just I'm not a scientist, so I'll just say at the end, I'll say science and you believe me. And that the coronavirus is tricked away from your own ACE2 receptors and tries to bind to the nicotine. So I'm just pulling it all together and saying maybe they wanted to get kids in particular off of the vape sticks because we needed to get them infected. And we even tried a little bit later on by saying, if you vape, you're definitely going to get more infected. Which isn't clearly, there's every reason for me to have been deathly ill. Every reason.
You take vitamin D3.
True.
You might, if you're going to continue on this line of thinking, please play the theremin in the background.
Okay, I will. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in educating into compliance, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Are you talking through a tube?
I am talking through a tube.
In the morning to the trolls in the troll room. Hands up, trolls. Hands up, hands up. Let's count you. Put the little troll counter on. Woo, 2032. Nice to see you, trolls. Good work on Sunday. That is the troll room available to all at noagendastream.com, where not only can you sit there and troll along with all the others under that digital bridge, you can also listen to this show live. We've got Darren O'Neill, once again, did a great rock and roll pre-stream show for us. And we got Nick the Rat does live stuff for Rhino the Bearded, but also podcasts just that are perfect from all across the Gitmo Nation. No commercials, mostly talk, and certainly no agenda. That is the Troll Room, noagendastream.com. And you can ask for an invite there to noagendasocial.com, which is our algo-free social network. It is federated, so it does work across all these other servers, which are all their own micro communities. And since there's no algos, the signal to noise is quite enjoyable, and you will like hanging out there. I did want to read briefly, since he sent a note and we couldn't find it on the last, I think he became an Instanite, David Fox. I just wanted to read this note. I paraphrased it somewhere along the line. Forgive me, Podfathers. I have deuced. I've been listening since episode number 1. Donated off and on over the years. No Agenda Show is truly a great product. Not only is the show great, but the producer network is outstanding. Recently, I was assaulted to the point I was in the hospital. The first thing I remember when coming to consciousness in the hospital was the nurse coming in the room and saying, "Sir, your friend from Australia, Chris Wilson, wants to talk to you." That's right. My CB radio wife, Chris, tracked me down in North Carolina from New South Wales. Then right after that, the second call I got was from DC girl who'd also tracked me down at the hospital. The No Agenda Producer Network swung into full effect, making sure I was okay. I had someone checking up on me 24/7. All of them people I met on No Agenda Social. Talk about value for value. And could not agree more. And that is indeed exactly what's going on over there. It's really beautiful. And thank you to Farm Slave. No, that can't be Farm Slave. Let me get the right. That was the previous one. Let me go back and get the right. We had show 1300. That's interesting. Why is show 1300 not showing up here on my... Oh, there we go. Title of that was Electrical College. And the artwork, well, we went with Mountain Jays. Very nice. 1300 with blood-like letters, vampire letters. We had an audio waveform, our classic mic. It was just kind of a beautiful piece with the white background, so it looks good on the white web pages. The best podcast in history was the moniker on this one. And did we have anything we needed to discuss about this? There was a lot of art lacking.
Now, we should mention something to the artists so they can, on a show like 1300 or even Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, the special dates, yeah.
These special day shows, it might not be a bad idea to do something thematic to the day. It's not that often. There's maybe 10 a year.
True.
As opposed to some pun or something that's funny about some little moment in the show.
Yeah.
The 1300th show, the most important part of the show was that it was the 1300th show. And there was a lacking number of people who picked up on that. And I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, well, not everyone knows this, but stated as such, there was a couple of, it was way too busy, most of the art. Just too much stuff in there, too many letters, not clear, something that pops off the page. I mean, all valiant efforts, no doubt. But I agree, it's for those types of shows, getting the big 1300 or a turkey or a Santa Claus or something like that is kind of what you want. And for those of you on a Podcasting 2.0 compatible app, you can see all of this art that we're talking about right now if you look at your screen. Go to newpodcastapps.com to find one that is compatible with your No Agenda show. And we have, as part of our time, talent, and treasure value for value system, where you give back whatever you get out of it, not only do we have the great artists, thank you, at noagendaartgenerator.com, but we have our executive producers and associate executive producers to thank right now.
In starting with Matt Lovewell. And Matt is in Maquoketa, I don't know how to pronounce this, and it's in Iowa of all places. Maquoketa.
I think I would go with Maquoketa.
Maquoketa. $1,000.50.
Nice.
1050.
Nice.
And thank you for that. I wanted to make sure your stockings were full this St. Nick's Day. I was hit in the mouth by my generous brother Mike from Maquoketa, who donated $556 for me in October.
Oh, my.
I would like to return the favor and get him to the round table where he belongs before the Corning festivities.
The Corning?
Coming. It looks like an R. I would be thankful for some mac and cheese and a long cut Sharpton, both of which are plentiful now, but will soon be hard to come by. Mike can pick up his own night name, but if I had to pick one for him, it would be Mike, Knight of All Tradition.
Oh.
Lastly, he is in need of a de-douching.
Oh, we have that.
You've been de-douched.
So, so he'll be on the list, and you'll be, you didn't give him executive producer credit, so you'll get that.
And mac and cheese.
Oh, that's not the right mac and cheese. I'm sorry, what is this then?
President Trump said that because of the killing of al-Baghdadi, that the world is a better place. And I would give credit to he and those that were responsible for it. But we have a lot of work that must still be done in the area of terrorism. In the same area of the world where al-Baghdadi was, and in our own nation.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
There you go. Matt, thank you very much for your courage.
Onward with Jenny Naples Massey in Arvada, Colorado, $588.90. And she sent a PDF file of all things. Letter of explanation, the bat coin. I tried emailing an image that I took of the coin I found in change in my original donation mentioning the bat coin on your show back in June, but it must not have gone through as Adam promptly debunked the coin. So to clarify, this quarter has actually been in circulation all year.
Yes, I was incorrect, and I believe I stated such.
Well, I don't believe you did because
I didn't.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, I think I remember being quite strong about this is bullcrap, that it was a commemorative coin, but it's not. It was an actual quarter that was minted with the bat.
With a bat?
Yeah. With the
baseball bat?
No, a bat, as in a Wuhan flu bat.
What was the point?
Well,
is this a vampire coin? I'm not getting the background.
There was a quarter that people were finding, a US 25-cent quarter that had a bat on one side.
Really?
Yes.
Is it a collectible?
Well,
I'm completely. By the way, and I like coins. I could keep coins.
We talked about this. I can't believe you don't
I forgot
remember
all about
that.
it. Apparently,
here it is. A quarter with a bat on it will be. This is Cincinnati. Will be minted in the new year. It's part of the United States Mint America the Beautiful Quarters program, which honors national parks and other national sites across the United States.
Texas bats.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now I'm starting to remember. I think it had something to do with San Antonio or Texas or something.
Well, Austin we've got the Bat Bridge.
I thought San Antonio had more bats than Austin.
It's so creepy if you look at this, because I'm looking at a blow up of it. It's two bats. One is hanging upside down. It has a baby bat in its tummy.
Oh, God.
It's super creepy. So she sent them in the P.O. box? I want one. I definitely
I never got a bat coin. I'm sorry.
Ah.
I'd remember something like this, I think. Unless it was so long ago. I just,
She says to settle the confusion.
Anyway, she mailed a proof of quarter each of you. She says each of us hope the package arrives before the show. Well, it didn't. I have seen the coins coming through. If I see it, I'll put it aside for you. As I own a restaurant in Denver, it took a little while for one of the coins to come through. My restaurant's cash deposits, it was great. Random fun for my marriage as we looked to the two coins we mailed to you both. Couples that no agenda together do indeed stay together, apparently thanks to the bat coin. We look forward to every show and often find ourselves quoting the clips randomly to friends at the time, like, it's true, with no explanation except, that's a good one, no explanation, just do it. I'd tell you, but I'd have to hit you in the mouth. Most of the time they are intrigued, and we have grown our no-agenda community within our friend and family circles. That's a plus.
Very nice.
A lot of people can't manage that. No agenda has kept me sane through the oldest insanity. The value is far more than I can afford to send today, but this amount brings me to damehood, accounting attached,
nice,
if available. I would love to be known as Dame Valentine of the Bluebird Powder region. I think she's on the list, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Thank you for your courage, gentlemen. And John, stay safe. A little goat karma for my restaurant would be greatly appreciated with gratitude. Jenny.
You've got karma.
Jenny. Now, I'm going to just get her, what does she want at the round table? I'm sorry, I missed that.
No.
Yeah, I have the PDF. I just have to open it up again.
Well, I have to.
I can do it.
I got it back.
No. You can.
Counting attached.
You can go.
No,
ahead.
nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Go ahead and read the next one. We're all good.
Okay. Oh, Dave Fugazzotto, Duke of America's Heartland and the Arabian Peninsula is back.
Nice. Hello.
But is he back in town?
I don't think he's back. I don't think he's back from...
No, he's just back on the list.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
390-30, Gladstone, Missouri. You should go to Neom while you're there. You know, there's apparently, what's his name? The Kirchner, whatever his name is, and some other guys, I guess maybe Pompeo, they're going to go meet the prince
Kushner
in Saudi Arabia before the term is up.
So Dave Fugazzotto has been locked up in the United Arab Emirates for 18 years, and this is your great idea for him. Oh, you should go see those guys.
He should go to Neom.
This is horrible. The guy has been locked up. He can't leave the country.
If he's there, he might as well go check stuff out.
True.
I have a clip I want to play. This is how important it is to go see Neom. Just play this. Fugazzotto needs to hear this. This is the Neom rundown.
There it is. Huh.
Neom will be massive, over 10,000 square miles or over 26,000 square kilometers. And that will make it more than 33 times larger than New York City and a little less than the size of Massachusetts. Located in the northwest corner of Saudi Arabia, Neom loosely connects the three continents of Africa, Asia, and Europe and hopes to be a leading global hub.
Huh. Neom.
A city the size of Massachusetts.
Can we invest in Neom?
Yeah, oh yeah.
As an exit strategy?
Are you kidding?
I need to exit. I need to exit this earth. We need to go to Neom. Neom.
Well, Neom's the place. Well, I put that in there because there's the code word in there in 33, and so Fukuzoto needs to get that message.
He knows what's up.
Lots of squirrelness going on, he writes, on at the company recently. With details to follow as things start to settle out. Suffice it to say, I respectfully suggest the TPP jobs karma with a deliberate aim in my general direction.
You got it.
It's also time to once again celebrate my and Dame Melody's nuptials, 17 years, and we never had a fight. That's because you haven't been together for but maybe a year.
You haven't seen each other. How could you fight?
Just Dame Isabella's 12th birthday. I guess you got together for that. Milestones that at last I'll celebrate with them from afar, as usual. Of course, such auspicious happenings are made all the better with a toot of the official No Agenda celebration horn. Hello. And some terrible terrier karma.
Okay, well, we can always toot the horn for you. Congratulations.
Thanks and much love from the kingdom, he writes.
Yes, and much love from us and from No Agenda Nation for your 17 years together.
You've got.
Oh, wait. I didn't mean that. Sorry. Karma. That's not what he was looking for. I gave him a dog karma. That was not the idea. This is what he needs.
Jobs. And jobs. You've got.
There we go.
Karma.
That's better. Now you got a double, man, and that was definitely directed at you.
Now you've got the next one, and this brings up an interesting point for this shortfall today.
Okay.
We have no associate executive producers.
It is an interesting thing. And this is our last for the segment. Baron Dirty Dick Bangs, who is in Washington, D.C. And he says, congrats on 1301. Figured there might be a letdown after 1300. Yeah, well, there's no associates. Wide open. Hello, Dana. Few things. One, my tired and true method of sending John a wine order or wine label and getting insight on wine has failed. Now, this is bad because I think everyone I know feels that they can text you, John, at any time of the day. If there's a picture of a wine bottle or a list, you will reply. So I'm surprised.
If I'm there.
I'm surprised this failed. So he goes on, Sir Dirty Dick Bangs, recently bought a 2015 Bordeaux, case or two, which is wrong. You want the 2016.
No, 2015 is great.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I was
unbelievable.
I was out looking for 2016. I didn't know that 20.
Here's the reason. I'll say it again. I said it before in the show. You can throw a dart at a 2016 Bordeaux, and it's going to be a winner.
Okay.
2015 Bordeaux is a great year, but there's a couple of areas where it's spotty.
Well,
that's the difference.
He says he recently bought a 2015 Bordeaux case or two, and then he says you need to check your email to celebrate my oldest son's birth year. More on him in a second. Would love 2017 and 19 Bordeaux recommendations to celebrate my other two boys' birth years. I'll continue while you think about that. Two, thank you. The sanity you provide myself and the No Agenda chief hater officer, my smoking hot wife, who will never listen to the show because of her corrupted feminist view, this is a marriage made in heaven, are available to keep things relatively normal for our three boys in difficult times. The fact-based statistics and sensible approaches to living life you've provided on the show, which I then in turn spoon-feed to her, unbeknownst to the NA source, allow us to avoid the amygdala enlargement hysteria. For this antidote to the hysteria, I thank you. My oldest son, Barrett Alexander Bangs, who was probably screaming as I played this in the car because we're not playing his favorite Disney songs, turns 5 on Monday, 12/7. It's small, small world. You feel better now? Barrett, you are my nugget. I love you and I'm so proud of you. Poor Barrett's grandparents, who are my folks, and his uncle and aunt, my brother and his wife, will have punted on Barrett's birthday due to the hysteria. Libtards. The irony, my parents both already had COVID, and as I saw in a recent Wall Street Journal, a whopping 54 out of 200 million cases worldwide have gotten it twice. Hopefully they're spending my entire
Bullshit.
Hopefully they're spending my entire inheritance on the lottery as we speak, since they're so special. Shout-outs to Archer Campbell Bangs, age 3, and Colton Reed Bangs, 18 months, both probably screaming as well currently since we aren't playing their Disney songs either. Love you both, and thanks for being such good little brothers to Big Brother Barrett. Could use some big sales karma to close out the year and health karma. First doctor's appointment in 2 years on Monday. I wish I was in bed, but alas, after traveling to Disney for Thanksgiving. This is the problem with your family. You've got to cut back on the Disney mind control for these children. Please, I beg of you. Look up The Wizard of Oz. After traveling to Disney for Thanksgiving, the boys' school is required... No. Sorry?
The Wizard of Oz is not a Disney product.
Yeah, but that's where it all started.
No.
Okay, all right. You're right. Look at Christina Aguilera. Enough said. Look at Britney Spears. Enough said. So here we go. Yeah, the boys' school is requiring by the fascists of Montgomery County, Maryland, which I used to live in Montgomery County. That's where I was for a few years after we came back from Africa, to get the COVID testing papers prior to them coming back. So we all got tested, negative, and I got a sinus infection from the test. Well, you got a dirty swab. Dirty swab, baby. They infected you. Was that what you're going to say, John?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that, or they pee on the swab in some areas.
Really? And which would that be in the D.C. area or Montgomery County to be specific?
Area.
The PC area, apparently. We have several regularly tested frontline workers as friends and family, and this is a common side effect. So while I should be in bed, my head is blasting with sinus pressure. Side note, pretty sure I got COVID last Christmas. It's been here longer than any of us realize. Thank you for all you do. It truly is priceless. Baron Dirty Dick Bangs of D.C. P.S. I'm an Eagle Scout. Fairly remarkable how many listeners are. And like most Eagle Scout listeners, where is he? Like most Eagle Scout listeners, my kids won't set foot in the Boy Scouts. Sad the corruption of such a wonderful organization. I'm also Jesuit educated. I'd be willing to bet there's also that's also a larger cohort of your listeners. Yes, I think that's true, including Dr. Anthony Fauci. So thank you very much. We do have some health karma, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of goat there for you and the Bangs family.
You've got karma.
Now, why did you see 199.99? Did we want to push that one person up as an associate exec?
That one person specifically said, we'll read his note. Well, actually, since we're short.
We're short.
We might as well read his note. This is Dana. This is our Hollywood producer celebrity.
Yeah, Dana Brunetti, known from the social
House
network.
Of Cards, let's say.
House of
Cards is good enough.
And 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey, or 150 Shades of the grayest shade you've ever seen.
He's more embarrassed by that, except his banker.
Yeah, he's not embarrassed by that at all.
He's in the state of Jefferson, he claims.
Oh.
Sorry for the $199.99, but I have to avoid the associate producer credits. They hurt my standing in the industry. He says, if I have any left. He's the bad boy of Hollywood.
He is.
And my IMDb page. However, happy to report the karma works. Ironically, I just sold a show to IMDb TV.
Oh, well, there you go. The karma worked.
Also, the rain stick works.
Yeah,
we got a storm here, and a tree fell on the awning of my Airstream, and it destroyed it.
To be fair, the awnings on the Airstreams are pieces of crap. He'll confirm. They're crappy.
John, turn your speakers down and stop clicking your pen. Anyway, I'm going to go tasting with him on Monday.
Oh, you're going to go, and what are you going to be tasting?
We're going to Verite.
That means
our
nothing
game
to
up
me.
at Verite.
Verite. What is Verite? Is that a
it's a winery up in the Sonoma County winery in the northern part. It's in Alexander Valley. It's one of the probably 4 super high-end cult wineries that is, unlike the other ones, this one is a little more probably, I'm guessing, because I haven't been to the two of the other ones. Very, very slick.
Do you have to be verite if you go to Verite?
Yes.
Yes.
And I have to say yes.
Yes. Now, tell me in your yes verite voice about the 2015 Bordeaux recommendation that, no, what did he want, Dick Banks? I said we get back to it.
He wants 2017 and 2019. I'm going to have to send him a note on this.
Okay.
2017 is a sketchy year in Bordeaux, and I think it's generally not good. But there's good wines that come out of it like they do, but they're all high-end. So you have to buy an expensive wine for 2017 if you want to hold up. Otherwise, it's not like you can go through the dart like you can with 2016. 2018 and 19 have not really hit the market yet, but both of them look like killer years. Which is better of the two? I think they're both going to be great, but I don't know which one's the throw the dart year. But 2019, I'm guessing you can probably just pick anything out. It's going to be good, but you want to pick for kids because you want the wine to last at least 21 years.
You do? Is that a thing?
Well, Bordeaux's in a good year will last 50 years, but 21 years is what you want because the kid can have some wine, his wine year when he's 20, when he has his 21st birthday. Oh, that's so cute. Dad's held his wine. And, it's just kind of charming.
Oh, yeah.
So
super charming.
Well, it is to wine drinker. Anyway.
We were at the restaurant last night. I specifically looked for a 2016 Bordeaux. There wasn't a Bordeaux on the list.
Oh, it's
an outrage.
Bigots.
An outrage. Or maybe it was a Bordeaux and had some fancy name.
I got another. Here's a generalized wine tip because people always seem to want these things.
Hold on a second.
A generalized wine tip.
Generalized wine tip. You go to a restaurant, you don't know anything. And, you got a sommelier, and if you really, sommeliers are no good unless you know how to talk to them. And that means you better know something. So otherwise they're just bullshit. Yeah. But if you know what you're talking about.
You're going to give us some phrases to use so we can impress them?
No, I'm just going to give you a wine to pick.
Okay.
Because if this wine is on any wine list, and it's on most wine lists because they need these alternative cheap wines that are good, and this is a cheap wine that's good, outside of a Beaujolais, which usually if there's a Beaujolais on the list, you can talk to the sommelier and they'll tell you which one might be the best. But look for a Gigondas, Gigondas. It's a Rhone Valley wine. It's a recent appellation, I think from maybe 20 years ago or so. It's always dynamite. I don't care what year it is. If it's on the wine list, I guarantee the guy picked it out for a reason because it's good tasting. And it's cheap.
So
relatively cheap.
Can I ask a question? Would it be then if I'm in the restaurant, can I say something like, do you have a Gigondas or something like that?
Then you sound like a loser.
Okay. Well,
don't do that.
I will refrain. You got it. And thank you to our executive producers exclusively today. That has not happened in a long time that we haven't had an associate executive producer. I don't even know if that's ever happened.
It's usually the other way around where we don't have executives and we bump a guy.
Yeah. No one got bumped. He's all bumped down.
Yeah, no one gets bumped down, so we just don't have one. That's the way it is.
Well, we are
beginning of the end.
Highly appreciate that's your Build Back Better, baby. That's how it rolls. Joe's coming in, show's going down. We highly appreciate the support that we receive from these executive producers. And we do have more producers who have certainly supported the show. We'll talk about them. We'll thank them in our second segment. We do need your help, especially from your associate executives out there. And, apparently Hollywood has given up on us because they're being shamed for promoting this show. Shamed for producing it. IMDb shame.
Oh, by the way, he says he got a gig at IMDb TV, and I'm looking. I said, what is that? You know what it is?
Yes, I think I looked it up.
Did you know that IMDb was bought by Amazon?
Yes, that's Amazon TV. That's right. I did know this because I looked it up.
So this is like IMDb TV, whatever. This is like some sort of an Amazon second channel.
What would you be more ashamed of? Saying that you produced
I agree with
the
you.
No Agenda show?
I agree.
Yeah, that you produced the No Agenda show or you produced a show for Amazon?
No, it's not Amazon. It's IMDb TV.
But that's the head fake because it's IMDb TV. Yeah, it's a Jeff Bezos property. Ugh. That's what
okay. He has to live with it.
That's right. You have to live with your choices, young man. You decide. And again, thank you. This is exactly how we treat our top donors. And somehow they like it. I'm not quite sure how that works, but we've been doing it for a while. And we'd love to do it again with your help on the show coming up in just a couple of days. It'll be Thursday, and we are getting closer to all kinds of fun deadlines, so there'll certainly be stuff to deconstruct. Please help us and support the show by going to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And that's really all I ask for is your time, your talent, or your treasure, and thank you for producing the show.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
A little entremont before we get into other stuff. A win for saneness, a win for people like myself who are sick and tired of lying scumbag fellow travelers. Ha, 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 ha. Suck it.
Well, tonight, there's a new rule for airline passengers. No more emotional support animals. Next year, the only service animals allowed on planes will be dogs, specifically trained to help people with disabilities. That rules out cats and exotic pets, including, yes, turkeys and peacocks.
Dogs are people, too.
Finally. And you will be required, if the dog is for psychiatric purposes, you will be required, regardless. Actually, I don't think you can be required to show why you have a service dog, but you will have to show the true service dog papers, not some phony baloney saddle you threw on your poodle that says, emotional support animal. Ha 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 ha. Suck it, you pussies. So sick and tired of these liars.
Well, that was out of control.
And they're liars. And they get to board first with their lying dogs. So that's over. Thank you. They're really trying to squeeze every dime they can out of passengers now. They need people to pay for their pets. They got no money.
So I have a couple of little side projects here, little side reports.
Okay.
From NBC. This is apparently what's coming up is Package-geddon. Package-geddon.
Package-geddon?
Yeah, Package-geddon.
Okay.
Because all these stores, all the shops are closed, so everyone's ordering online, and so now there's the delivery services can't handle it, so it's Package-geddon. So I picked up this very short clip. So NBC did a whole 10 minutes on it. But I got this, I just found this to be peculiar. This is Package-geddon with Odd Reporter NBC.
Okay.
The holiday delivery crush is on with a staggering number of packages to ship by Christmas. Companies are now taking extreme measures and the new deadlines for gift delivery. Jolene Kent has details.
With Christmas around the corner, the shipping rush is on, and experts say this year there will be 250 million more packages than delivery systems can handle.
We will be having 3 billion packages to be delivered between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that is not counting the millions of packages that will come starting middle of next week for COVID-19 vaccine.
That's weird. That doesn't sound right.
What did they bring this Indian guy in an echo chamber?
Because it sounds like there's some science to it when you do that.
He sounds like he's in the... This is more of the reporting. Is this the best NBC can do is find this guy, this Indian, who sounds like he's calling you about, Marriott special offer?
or the IRS is after you.
Or the IRS is after you, or your Social Security number has been compromised. Yeah. So they bring this guy in as what? And so I thought this was idiotic. And so then they go to the end of the report where this is Package-geddon odd voice drop. Now they put him in as a punchline in the later part of the report. Why don't you play this?
Because if you leave your shopping to the last minute,
procrastinating for your orders this year is going to be very expensive.
Shipping fees will only increase.
Okay, now let me the first thing I observed is he's talking about because COVID vaccine, that's not being mailed. That's supposed to be distributed by...
Yeah, that's true.
Operation Warp Speed.
But what is NBC up to that they have to use this guy he's in a closet or in a bucket? I mean, it's just lame. I've got another example later in the show, some very poor editing, but NBC is really dropping the ball here. But I don't think this report was about Shipageddon or anything else. I think it was about this native ad part. Right in the middle of the package getting report is this little native ad right in the middle. Listen to this.
Instacart now offering same-day delivery for major brands like the Disney Store, Bed Bath & Beyond, Sephora, and more.
Let me hear that again.
Instacart now offering same-day delivery for major brands like the Disney Store, Bed Bath & Beyond, Sephora, and more.
Huh.
What's the point of that?
Oh, that's totally a native ad for Instacart.
Yeah, they charge Disney Store X amount of money just to be mentioned in the report. I'd like to know what the fee was.
No, I really don't care. Doesn't matter. Who's watching that? The only person watching is you, and it's not working on you. So, the president was... Yeah, I'm going to transition real fast away from that. The president was in Georgia yesterday. And he had a big rally with a lot of MAGA Nation very, very excited to have him there. And he was relaxed and chilled, and he was cracking jokes. He was a very relaxed guy. The first lady came out in a dynamite. Did I say dynamite? Maroon red leather coat. Oh my God. And that was she looked fantastic. She almost winged it without the prompter, got through most of it pretty well. And here's just a quick couple of sound bites.
And cucumbers. Who does cucumbers around here? Because I like cucumbers. I'm the only one. I like cucumbers.
You can tell he's back to his old self. He's relaxed. He's chatting about cucumbers. It really doesn't matter too much. Everything seems to be pretty good. He does see something that we've noticed as well, and this should all go awry in Georgia with the vote counts. And if it turns out that there was some hanky-panky business going on, according to MoFax, that Stacey Abrams would be left holding the bag, and the president called her out.
And for whatever reason, your Secretary of State and your governor are afraid of Stacey Abrams. They're afraid of her.
So he's amping up everything on what's happening in Georgia. Now, if you're interested and want to dive deep into all of the mounting evidence regarding election fraud, you can say voter fraud, but I think election fraud is more accurate. And which lawsuits, and there's new lawsuits going in continuously. Ted Cruz is now involved. I find this very amusing. Ted Cruz is going to the Supreme Court on behalf of the people. I don't know if it's the people of Pennsylvania, but on behalf of the people, as he feels that there's a catch-22 somehow that goes into the Laches Act as to when you do or do not have standing to bring a lawsuit, and that in an election, you basically can't win. Because if the election isn't done, if all the counting isn't done, you don't have standing because there's no crime being committed. And if you come after the fact, then they say, well, you should have mentioned it earlier. So now now you're too late. Yeah, it's something that is constitutionally weird. And he's going to fight that, and that could change something in Pennsylvania. Ted Cruz, for as creepy as he can be, he's a good lawyer, and he has been at the Supreme Court, and he has won stuff at the Supreme Court.
And he was also, which always surprised me when he went up against Trump because he lost, was Ted Cruz was always the head and apparently a rough and tumble debater. He was the head of the debating society, and he was like a superstar debater. And he was a master debater.
He's a master debater. I think we titled the show after him once. So I have 3 clips that'll bring you up to speed on what's happening. I think the easiest is to start with the man who clearly knows exactly what's going on. He works at CNN, so why wouldn't he know what's happening with the morning briefing from Jeff Zucker? This is Jake Tapper to talk specifically about El Cid, the Kraken keeper, and Lynn Wood, who are filing lawsuit after lawsuit. Sidney Powell, new lawsuit in Arizona, alleging 412,000 illegal ballots. There's just, in fact, even Fox, I heard yesterday, are going from no widespread voter fraud to, wow, what did you just open? A beer?
A can of beer.
A Miller Lite? A Miller Lite?
Well, then I'll have to pour it.
Well, okay. I mean,
well, that stunt didn't work. I got water all over my pants.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do my own version of it here. Perfect. No water. So there's lots.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
Go on.
No, I wanted the bong hit anyway. There's lots of the edible had worn out. So there's, General Flynn has now also come out and he's talking. And so there's a lot going on. But that's what I was saying before I was interrupted. That Fox News has gone from there's no widespread voter fraud, which and everyone says this, that means there's some fraud, election fraud, but it's not widespread. And now they've gone to, it's kind of curious the things they're coming up with. Unless you're Jake Tapper. This is the best. This is the handbook for M5M, how to marginalize someone who may actually be right about something. Just do the following.
So pro-Trump attorneys Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell, who constantly push the most deranged conspiracy theories, which is saying something because there's a spectrum of them.
I mean, and if you listen to the No Agenda show, those cats aren't anywhere compared to these guys.
They held one of these Stop the Steal rallies this week in Georgia. Again, this is all based on nonsense. And they actually...
Wait a minute. Point of order. Point of personal privilege. You cannot say for weeks baseless claims and then say it's based on nonsense. It's either baseless or not, Jake Tapper.
Again, this is all based on nonsense. And they actually were discouraging Georgia Republicans from voting at all in the runoffs on January 5th. Take a listen.
I think I would encourage all Georgians to make it known that you will not vote at all until your vote is secure.
They have not earned your vote. Don't you give it to them. Why would you go back and vote in another rigged election, for God's sakes?
Now, again, as a factual matter, the vote was secure and is secure by all evidence, and it was not rigged. So what they're saying is not true.
There you go.
That report is so outrageous. I have to give you a clip of the day for that.
Well, I appreciate that. Unexpected, by the way.
Clip of the day. Yeah, I didn't think you would, but I have a similar. I have the NBC version of what you just played.
Oh, we need to hear this. This is very important.
But it's not as good as that.
Well, Jake Tapper is the big leagues, so let's be honest.
But Jake Tapper is really an opinion guy, not a news guy. Here's the news guy. This weird election report from NBC.
Tonight, President Trump headed south, dialing up his pressure campaign against Georgia's Republican governor to persuade the state legislature to overturn Biden's victory.
You got to make sure your governor gets a lot tougher than he's been, because at stake in this election is control of the U.S. Senate, and that really means control of this country.
Waiting for him in Georgia, many Trump supporters echoed the president's unfounded claims of election fraud.
I wanted to come see my president and my next president for the next 4 years.
While Mr. Trump's trip is for Georgia's high-stakes Senate runoff next month, the president is fixated on the November election he lost. Georgia's ballots have been recounted twice, but the president demands a separate signature check for all voters, today blasting Georgia's top GOP leaders. Why are these two Republicans saying no? Aides to Governor Brian Kemp say the president phoned today. Kemp tweeted, "As I told the president this morning, I've publicly called for a signature audit 3 times. The president fired back, "But you never got the signature verification. Your people are refusing to do what you ask." The governor says he cannot lawfully give President Trump what he wants.
4 more years!
Now, did you hear that?
Was that a whipsaw?
It was the best whipsaw I've ever heard.
Let's listen to that one more time.
More people are refusing to do what you ask.
Great.
The governor says he cannot lawfully give President Trump what he wants.
Nah, did you edit that in? That's the way the report ran?
No, I did not.
But the people are going, woo!
They're yelling 4 more years. And what the whipsaw works like this. What Trump wants is the signature recount.
Right.
And that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And so they edit in when she says the words, give Trump what he wants. Then they have these people yelling 4 more years, which is also what he wants, but it's not part of the report. So it's like a very advanced whipsaw.
Yes. I don't think it's on purpose. I think they're just idiots. I don't know. You say very advanced. You give them a lot of credit.
I'm not going to make an argument here.
Okay.
But you
Who
might
knows?
be right, but it's beautiful.
Let's get an update. Let's get an update from the horse's mouth, so to speak, from El Cid, the Kraken keeper.
Well, the 11th Circuit just rejected our appeal from the district court's partial grant of relief to us. And so we'll be back in the district court for a hearing, hopefully Monday or Tuesday. We'll see where it goes from there. But one of the things we want and have been trying to get with great opposition is the voting machines to be secured all across the state of Georgia, because massive evidence of the shaving of votes and the flipping of votes from Trump to Biden exists in those machines, except to the extent they've been erasing things and destroying evidence as fast as they can do it. I have in my office right now a huge bag of shredded ballots. I can't wait to see what that discloses, and there are more on the way.
Where do you get the shredded ballots from? Who turns those over to you?
Citizens are out there watching and observing everything. The people of America are not going to allow our president to be defeated by fraudulent election mechanisms. And these people have used every manner and means of voter fraud you can imagine. It was heavily coordinated. It was heavily funded. And they now have 25 lawyers or so lined up against us, our little ragtag team of misfit toys that are trying to fight for truth and justice for the American people.
Well-positioned ragtag team. Yeah, I think she has a lot more coming, and we have some time, and I'm going to run through the constitutional timeline in a moment with help from the representative from Alabama. But here's my conflict, my personal conflict. The show's title is No Agenda. I have no agenda. I don't give a crap about Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. I've never belonged to any party ever, nor would I. I don't like the idea. I'm not interested in the political power. I'm a United States citizen. And the reason why I'm still very interested in this is because I do believe in stuff like this. Samuel Adams said, "The liberties of our country, the freedoms of our civil constitution are worth defending at all hazards. It is our duty to defend them against all attacks. We have received them as a fair inheritance from our worthy ancestors. They purchased them for us with toil and danger and expense of treasure and blood. It will bring a mark of everlasting infamy on the present generation, enlightened as it is, if we should suffer them to be wrested from us by violence without a struggle, or to be cheated out of them by the artifices of designing men." So that's why I'm very interested. If this is rigged, then we need to make sure it's unrigged for the midterm and unrigged for the next general election in 4 years. That's the most important thing. And it's not baseless. There's clear evidence of election fraud and some voter fraud. They're two different things. And this will go. The president, who has sworn to uphold, defend the Constitution of the United States, as has every other House of Representative member, every senator, they have the duty to see this all the way through. And the American people have been poorly educated and do not understand the civics of our constitutional republic. So in the next few months, actually, I should read this first before I go to the final thing I'll have for today. This is the opening paragraph of Executive Order on imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. and this was issued on September 12th, 2018. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the ability of persons located in whole or in substantial part outside the United States to interfere in or undermine public confidence in United States elections, including through the unauthorized accessing of election and campaign infrastructure or the covert distribution of propaganda and disinformation, constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States. Although there has been no evidence of a foreign power altering the outcome or vote tabulation in any United States election, foreign powers have historically sought to exploit America's free and open political system. In recent years, the proliferation of digital devices and internet-based communications has created significant vulnerabilities and magnified the scope and intensity of the threat of foreign interference, as illustrated in the 2017 Intelligence Community Asset. I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with this threat. And without going into this deeper, it's a long executive order. It's your duty almost to read it, just to be informed. But 45 days after the conclusion of a United States election, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate executive departments, shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating the foreign government or any person acting as an agent on behalf of a foreign government has acted with the intent or purpose of interfering in that election. And it goes on and on and on. It's almost as if he knew it was coming. That's all I'm going to say. So how do we get this to the final outcome that the president wants? We will have to go through the process. The Electoral College, all of this is almost unnecessary if you listen to the timeline of Representative Mo Brooks from Alabama, who explains exactly how this will go down.
On January the 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the 50 states will report to Congress. The President of the Senate will preside over this meeting, will report to Congress what they contend are the Electoral College results in their state. If a House member and a senator objects to the submission of Electoral College votes by any state, that immediately triggers a House floor vote and a Senate floor vote on whether to accept or reject those Electoral College votes submitted by that particular state. The amount of debate on the House and Senate floor is limited to 2 hours under federal law, and if we reject those Electoral College votes, then they're taken out of the mix. If the election process problems are so great that after subtracting the Electoral College votes of states that are running a poor election system, a system so suspect that you can't give credibility to the results that are being reported, then the United States Constitution mandates that Congress determine who the next president and vice president of the United States will be. Under Article 1, Article 2, and Amendment 12 to the United States Constitution, the House of Representatives will be the body that determines who is president of the United States. The vice president will be determined by the United States Senate, and they can even be members of different parties if that's the will of the House and the Senate. Now in the House, there's a little bit of a twist. It's not a majority of 435 congressmen that determines who the president of the United States will be. Rather, it is a majority of the state delegations that determines who the president of the United States will be. That being the case, based on the election we just had a couple of weeks ago, the Republicans control 26 state delegations. The Democrats control 20 state delegations, with the remainder being tied with the possible exception of Iowa. There is an uncalled Iowa House race. If that is called in favor of the GOP candidate who's up, last I saw, about 47 votes, then there will be 27 state delegations that have a majority of their members being Republican. Hence, the House would be in a position to elect a Republican to the White House based on what we saw a couple of weeks ago on Election Day earlier in November the 3rd.
There you go. I think Trump has it.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we're going to play variations of that exact same scenario.
I don't think we've ever played this exact scenario. This is the first time I've ever heard it explained so clearly.
Well, I will give you the clearly part. but it's been played one way or the other 2 or 3 times, actually. I'd have to dig up those reports.
Well, okay, but then help me just in quick review, so we don't have to ever play it again, so we understand. Because I saw the troll room also go, hey, legalese, I don't understand it. There's already one House member who was going to reject. That's Mo. That's Mo Brooks. If one senator does the same, then there's a possibility that several of these contested states will go away and be taken off.
Could be. I mean, it is a possibility.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
And then it seems like it may go eventually to the states. I mean, that's the ultimate I keep hearing is, although this Iowa thing seems like there's a little snake in the grass there that could thwart everything. But that will create a lot of friction, a lot of strife. And part of the strategy, I think, not knowing anything, is to, blanket as much of the alternative media universe, that's Rumble, that's Parler, but it's also podcasts, with as much of the actual documentation as possible. I'm certainly receiving just document after document, certainly as it pertains to China, who apparently printed up 5 million ballots, complained they couldn't get the metallic watermark right, and shipped it with medical supplies to the U.S. to be distributed, pre-printed with Biden as the selection. It sounds to me like this would be possible. Certainly,
anything's possible.
Certainly,
there's likelihoods we have to deal with, and the likelihood is pretty close to zero.
Why do you say that? Why do you see it so close to zero? Can't we at least give a 50-50 on this?
Well, I'll go over the same thing again. You have all the intelligence agencies, the CIA, the FBI, the entire mainstream media, most of the major news organizations, the New York Times, the Washington Post, everybody all lined up against this president to get him kicked out in any way they can.
Correct.
I just don't see how you can, one or two representatives like Mo Brooks, it's going to really put a stop to this. It's like a juggernaut in the favor of Biden, and that's what's happening, and I don't see any way of stopping it. And you yourself used to play the clip where it was Ron Paul who said, well, the CIA kind of took over running the country when they killed Kennedy, which is an old clip that's in the archive somewhere. I haven't been able to find it.
Which I still believe, yes.
And if that's the case, then they're running the country, and they don't want Trump in anymore. And luckily he didn't get shot.
The only thing I will correct you on is that the most sophisticated intelligence agency in the world is the Defense Intelligence Agency. It's bigger, and I think they have access to more toys than the CIA. And the CIA recently had special operations taken away from them. So yes.
The special operations was not taken away from the CIA. That special operations was taken away from the military, the Army and the military JSOC guys. The CIA still could do what they want.
But okay.
Now the budget of the DIA and that's iffy. And who has the best toys?
Okay,
it's supposed to be the NSA.
All right. Let's just separate this into two things. I have no argument with you about the power of all the intelligence agencies and the media, which I don't even know why you separated those two, but okay. We'll call them two separate things, the mainstream media and the intelligence community. But they're not. They're the same. I have no doubt, and I do not underestimate their power. But I think we can agree that the Constitution is now against that power. And we'll see what happens. Is that the final word on this? That yes, seems like there's a possibility, but it'll never happen because of the intelligence agencies and the media, which is the same group.
Well, I don't think it's the same group because they're not necessarily everyone who works for the media is not getting paid by the CIA.
You understand what I'm saying. You understand the point.
Yes, but it's still not the same. These are separate groups in the public eye. And in separate groups with their own kind of, they push here and they push there, and they've done a really good job with COVID. If you haven't noticed, it's half of our show. The likelihood to me is zero, but we'll see. I mean, it's great. I think it would be fabulous if we could get an exercise in this, because we've never seen it before.
We haven't.
Last 100 years.
Yeah, we haven't, but it has happened.
Yeah, within the last, nobody living has witnessed this.
No. Okay, that's fine. So I'm just saying that this to me was a very clear path. Now I have a date, which is January 5th, so it would be the January 6th. And now we know what to look forward to, and now I can not worry so much and have to pay attention. I know what needs to be done. And we'll see if that happens.
I do not like the idea of Sydney, Ms. Sydney, telling people not to vote in the runoff in Georgia. I really don't like that idea. And luckily, there's a
but she's not working for the president. I don't even know if she's a member of the Republican Party. I'm
just saying she represents herself as working for the president, even though she's not. She represents a certain side of the argument, your side. And I think it's irresponsible for her to say that, because I think that election will be carefully monitored and probably be much more legitimate than the original. And I think these people shouldn't be discouraged from voting, because this is more important than anything else going on, is making sure that one of those two people win a Senate seat, especially against the two creeps they're running against. And in particular, the white guy that's running against the Republican is an outrageous Beto O'Rourke level creep, and he needs to not win.
One correction. Sidney Powell does not represent my side. You really need to stop that. I represent on this show. That's exactly what you said.
Am I saying it constantly?
No, it's exactly what you said. You said Sidney Powell.
No, I said it once. I will not say it again, but she is, in my opinion, representing your side. I guess I'm wrong.
You cut me off. I wanted to say, on this show, I am representing her side to make sure at least we hear it. It's fine if you don't like her. And obviously it's not a very smart thing for the Republican Party, for her and Lynn Wood to say, don't vote. Personally, I don't give a shit. I don't care if people vote in Georgia or not. I would like to see this part, just the constitutional part, run through. I would like to know a little bit more. I'd like to see the report that is due from Defense Intelligence 45 days after the election. That's what I'd like to see. I'm interested in that. My dog in the hunt is elections moving forward. And not even for me, because I don't care. We'll be fine. We'll do the show. We've taken a vow of poverty. Maybe I'm interested in our children to see how they'll do. That's all. I'm not a rabid nut. People who are rabid nuts are on real television, like ABC, like The View.
The bottom line is that the president's pardon power is really extensive. I wouldn't say it's exhaustive. Like, you can't pardon someone from impeachment, but there's no question. I think that you can issue a blanket pardon, even for crimes that were committed, maybe perhaps could be that haven't even been charged, that could be charged. So his power is pretty exhaustive. But the one thing he can't pardon for would be state crimes. He can only pardon really for federal crimes. So I would imagine that New York is still open to investigation. Florida is still open to investigation.
James is waiting on him.
Some of these, she really is. That's the Attorney General of New York. So I would imagine that his pardon power is not that exhaustive. The other thing I want to mention is that what is interesting to me is once you pardon someone like a Michael Flynn, that gives people immunity. So Michael Flynn could decide to turn against Trump and testify against him. So it's really not the best strategy. But I don't know that Trump has thought that through.
Now, so wait. There's something that happened right in this segment where we talked about on the last show that they have somehow Trump's going to pardon his whole family and himself. But I've never heard this next bit happen on The View.
Right, but you also have a legal note. Do you have to wait? We have this legal note that you're supposed to. Do you need to read that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So we all read it together?
Trump has repeatedly...
Go ahead, Sonny.
Trump has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, saying investigations into his conduct in office and his business dealings are motivated by politics. He has also denied allegations of sexual misconduct and affairs, saying payments were a personal matter, not a campaign expense.
I've never heard them forced to do a legal disclaimer. I've never heard that.
Well, I don't think anyone has, but what was the point of it? What was
I don't know.
I know what it is. Trump, known as a litigious type, if he doesn't get back in office, which in my opinion he won't, he will sue the hell out of these assholes at ABC.
Well, the way, just thinking about it now, I think it pertains to the executive order about misinformation.
That could be.
That's what I'm thinking.
There's all kinds of elements there.
That's what I'm thinking.
But that was funny, especially when they stopped in their tracks.
Well, they got.
I have.
No. But I think there may be a kicker. 19 seconds left.
Well, I think it's very exciting that, you know, he can pardon himself federally, but there are all these people waiting. Letitia James is waiting with her little foot. She is patting that foot, waiting for him to make a step out, because he keeps saying he's going to run in 2024. You're not going to run if you're in jail, my friend.
They want him in jail so bad.
I will say everybody wants, for some reason, this is really disturbing, I might add. All my liberal friends not only want him in jail, but they think, and they have a little laundry list. I keep promising I'll print one of these out of why he should be in jail. None of them jailable. I mean, nothing like Hillary's little violation there with her own server, which was against the national security laws.
All right. Do you have, what is this? This is from the Libjos or just your libtard friends in general?
More than the Libjos.
Okay. And what's the list? Why should he go to jail?
He's a liar.
Okay. Do not pass go. Go directly to jail for lying. Right. He must have 30,000 counts of lying.
It's unbelievable.
That's it? The lying? That's why he needs to go to jail.
One of them. There's a laundry list, but lying is right there in the middle of it, not the top.
Brother. I said
but I'll read I'll dig up the list and read it for the next show. The next show will pull out the list of a very important person who is a liberal and thinks of himself as a moderate, and he's known very famous person, and he's got his little list, and he thinks Trump should be in jail, and it's just like the worst of the Libjos they should all think he should be in jail. I mean, one of the Libjos went on about how Giuliani should be in jail
for lying.
It's just he should be in jail. He's a crook. He's a crook. It's just unbelievable. When I can't even get into. I do want to play this clip though. This is on the damage being done by what we just played. The damage of this questionable election. The fact that I think Gore still stretched it out longer than this, but it's not the same because it's Trump. It's not Gore.
Right.
This is Shields and Brooks. And, of course, these two guys, they agree with each other more than anything else. There's hardly a debate between the two of them. They're in lockstep agreement, and they're both Democrats, and they both hate Trump, and their analysis stinks to high heaven, exactly why they're on PBS. And the analysis in this case, Brooks makes an assertion and then contradicts the assertion with actual information, and then he admits that he's befuddled by anything, and he's befuddled by everything. But let's play this.
How much damage is being done by what is going on right now, Mark?
I can't calculate it, Judy, in concrete terms, other than to say it's dangerous. I mean, America has been the envy of the world. It's been an example to bring millions of people to our shores, a free and open democracy where every voice is heard, and to have the elected leader of that nation charged that it is not that it's corrupt, that it's criminal, is damaging beyond my calculation. And I just I think, I hope it's reparable, but it'll be a while before we find out just how much damage has been done.
David, how deep is the damage that's being done?
Well, 77% of Republicans or Trump backers say the election was stolen by fraud, according to a Monmouth poll. A lot of those same people don't believe in man-made climate change. A lot of those same people don't believe that masks can save your life. So there's a section of the country that's become detached from reality, and under Trump, paranoia has become a style, a resurgent style. I wrote a column about this a week ago, and I tried to theorize that this derives out of a sense of menace and threat, that people feel existentially unsafe, and so they grasp for conspiracy theories because it makes them feel powerful, that they see the truth. It makes them feel agency. They can expose the evil cabals. And I think there's some truth to that a lot of people just feel very scared economically, socially, racially, and out of that fear comes paranoia. But I got a lot of emails from people, like I got one from a guy in Palo Alto. He said, the neurosurgeon down my block believes all this stuff, so where's his anxiety? And I have to say, I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, it's science. Just yell science.
So the thing is, he brings up this, this is the deplorables argument. Anyone who supported Trump was a deplorable, and they're in a bucket. They're a bucket of deplorables. In this case, Brooks says that, people feel, it's the people who feel unsafe. It's the people who see a menace. It's the people who, I wrote these down.
That's your neighbors.
People are insecure. They're scared. They're fearful. It's just the opposite.
Yeah.
The people that I see that are scared and fearful are the Brookses and the Shields and the people shaking in their boots about COVID.
Yeah.
That's not the people that support Trump. The people walking around without a mask is not somebody who's fearful and scared. So he can't even make this analysis even remotely correct. And he's like the main guy. New York Times columnist, boom, he's on here and he admits himself. And he says, I don't get it why this neuroscientist I am confused.
The neuroscientist believes this. What's going on with the world? Yeah. You know what? He should get a little vocal fry. He could be editor of the New York Times. That's all he really needs.
Callbacks.
Yeah, pretty good.
We can do them.
Pretty good. Oh, Brexit, just as we predicted, but we predicted it a year ago without the Rona. Yeah, it looks like that's off now. This is supposed to be sewn up and finalized December 23rd.
Oh, I'm missing this. I missed this.
Well, so Brexit really hadn't happened. Yes, it happened, but the deal, it was in name only. A BINO. A Brexit in name only. I just made this up. I got to write that down. BINO. So they had the BINO, but they had no deal. The deal with the EU still had to be finalized, and this was supposed to be done. It needs to be done by December 23rd, and it's not getting done. So, and this is all about the trade. Brexit trade talks, critical point.
Yeah, it's also that border up at Northern Ireland.
That's the big problem.
Bone of contention.
That's
they
problem.
Can't deal with that.
Scotland waters, all of this stuff. And that's not Jesse Waters' brother, Scotland Waters.
Scotland Waters is oil.
Oil and fish. Oil and fish. Fish is a big deal.
Oily fish.
Should we take a quick little break and then we can get into
But you're not going to talk about BINO? Brexit, that was it.
Brexit in name only. No, I just came up with it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, by the way, I like the term.
BINO.
We're using it.
BINO.
Could be a show name.
I do have a quick bit of entertainment showbiz news, which I think is important because I've declared Hollywood dead. I'll say we. I think you agree. And something very big happened in Hollywood, which is an extension of China. So whether this is Hollywood finally drawing the noose close around its neck or China doing it for them is to be determined. But the only person who can tell you what's going on in Hollywood is, of course, the YouTuber known as Overlord DVD.
My sources inform me that today Disney is holding high-level emergency meetings. I was informed of this yesterday afternoon. Then later in the evening, I was informed that Paramount, MGM, pretty much all the studios in Hollywood are holding emergency meetings today to discuss the bombshell dropped by the Hollywood Reporter yesterday regarding Warner Brothers' decision to release their entire 2021 slate of films directly on HBO Max. The article that has sent Hollywood into a panicked tailspin was titled, Warner Brothers Smashes Box Office Windows, Will Send Entire 2021 Slate to HBO Max and theaters. The article reads, in an unprecedented announcement, the studio will send 17 films, including The Matrix 4, The Suicide Squad, and Dune, to its streaming service for 31 days, the same day they hit theaters. Warner Brothers is plotting a sweeping response to the ongoing pandemic, which has shuttered movie theaters around the country. After announcing that Wonder Woman 1984 will go to HBO Max as well as theaters December 25th, the studio has laid out a similar path for its 2021 slate amid uncertainty about when movie-going will get back to normal.
I'm informed the voice is Baron von Doomcock. I like that guy. He wears a mask. He wears like a Transformers outfit.
Comic.
Yeah. But this is a big deal. This is what everyone didn't want to happen. Is that one of the studios says, screw it, we're putting it all online. We don't give a crap about the theaters.
Yeah, they'll take a beating and get it over with.
I don't think they can recover. I don't know.
Well, I think the studios are going to have to merge or something. They're not going to be able to survive.
Disney will buy more.
Yeah, Disney will buy more. Disney's already a mess. If you've ever looked at the Disney org chart, I have a copy someplace. It is, I couldn't even put it in the newsletter. You can't do anything with it. It is a monster. It is a huge, it's like the map of the world with all these different companies and all these arrows going every which way. Disney, I don't see how Disney can continue to be this monster company that it is. These guys, I don't know. I know the movie business has got to be dead in the water.
Well, Tina and I met a couple who just moved to Austin from Brooklyn. And the husband works at a Disney subsidiary. I don't want to give him away, but he's the chief financial officer, I think. Or he's a C-suite guy for a subsidiary that Disney purchased years ago. And they are super conservative. And they left Brooklyn because they couldn't survive. People hated them. And they'd lived there for, 18 years. I think they're both maybe he's from the Midwest. But I'm going to ask about what the plan is, because I think we're seeing him next week or so for another dinner. And it's interesting.
They left Brooklyn because they were outspoken and you just said hello and hey, hello. They wore a MAGA hat. I mean, how'd they get rousted?
Well, they rousted themselves out because I think it was, They learned through election of the 700 people that live kind of in their district or whatever it is, 699 families were all Democrats and 6 families Republican. And I think that just all of this came down on them, what Cuomo is doing and what de Blasio, and they don't even know if they can ever sell their house. No, they said we just
a Republican lived in there. Don't buy it; you'll get contaminated.
Well, they up and left. Yeah, and the interesting thing is that the upper echelon of this particular company is very conservative, very right wing. So we'll see how they fare under this Disney stuff. Anyway, it's interesting. I will bring a report.
Texas is a good place.
So I have a former Hollywood exec, a current Hollywood exec, along with the former New York banker now to deal with. And we'll talk about some more fun stuff in just a moment.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
We do have a few people to thank for show 1301. We already discussed Dana Brunetti, who contributed $199.99 from Jefferson, California. Jefferson, not California. It's not in California. It's the new state, Jefferson. Ted Mikulowski in Bulverde, Texas, $133.33. Bradley Shellnut in Walnut Mountain View, $131. He's actually just down the street from me. James Powers in Carnegie, Oklahoma, or Carnegie, $130, or Carnegie. Michael Rohrer in Powell, Ohio, 1:30. Christopher Tonkinson in New Holland, Pennsylvania, 1:30. Sir Null Void, 1:30 from Tempe. Those people were all celebrating our 1300th episode. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them.
We really appreciate that.
I think Bradley Shellnut kind of made it 131 for the just for the
heck of it. Yeah,
as a nod.
Well, 1301.
Yeah, 1301. Peter Karnowski in Weed, California.
Woohoo!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he's going to send us the mugs. Somebody from Weed sent us some mugs.
What mugs? I didn't get any mugs.
Did you ever get your Weed mug?
Oh, yes, I did. Oh, that's an old one. Yes, of course I got the Weed mug. Thank you.
Yes, from some time. It's a beautiful mug, by the way.
It is a great mug.
Yeah, it's not like a slouch mug. Chloe Churhart, I think. What do you think? In Marietta, California, 9009. Big perky boobs. She's got a happy 38th around the sun to my devastatingly handsome DILF. Phil.
Mr. Phil. Cheer.
Clayton Mayring in Twin Falls, Idaho, 6969. Dan Scalisi in Vernon, Connecticut, 65. Carson Grover in Nolansville, Tennessee.
Wait. Dan had a douchebag call out his smoking hot wife, Courtney, is a douchebag. Never misses a show, but never makes a contribution. And happy anniversary, darling. Now donate. We love this partisan glitch pod, and so do our kids. Okay.
Yeah, good luck tonight with the sex. Mm-hmm. Carson Grover. These are $65 donors, also celebrating the 1300th episode. Carson Grover, 65 from Nolansville, Tennessee. Donald DeHart in Clarksville, Tennessee. These are all 65s. Laura Wilson in Kirkland, Washington. James Palmer in Grand Saline, I'm sure. Texas, Go Podcasting. Nicholas Brownstead in Chicago, Illinois. Philip Levitt.
Nicholas needs a quick de-douching as per request.
You've been de-douched.
Philip Levetschi, I'm guessing, in Mulika Hill, New Jersey, 65. Eric Hoff in Edmonton, Alberta, 65. And that's our little list of 65 folks. Aaron Chamberlain in Dayton, Ohio, has got a birthday for somebody. 60. His dad, actually.
Yep, turns 60.
Matthew Durney in Fredericksburg, Virginia. We got a douchebag call out. He's 5432. A douchebag call out. Both listening for years without donating, he says. Brandon B. Douchebag. And Gary M. Douchebag. He appreciates the show and wanted to let us know. Michael Gates in Colorado Springs, Colorado, 5280. Christopher Grimm in New York City, 5150. Desperate needs jobs. Karma will give you that at the end. Following people are $50 donors. Name and location. Short list today. We didn't, it was, let down after 1300, but it's fine. Villarreal in Mercedes, Texas. And Justin Clements in Columbia, Missouri. Mary Hui. Sir Matthew Januszewski in Chicago. Dan Scalisi in Vernon, Connecticut. Suan Lee, parts unknown, boots on the ground from Korea to follow. Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, that's a great note.
Great note, a little long. We'll
read it.
We'll
review. Yes.
Michael Coupland in Rockville, Ontario, 50. That is the old CEO from Corel.
Wait a minute. Is that's really the guy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wait. So him with the smoking hot trophy wife?
His smoking hot wife, who's a genius.
You bring him in, man. Way to go, John. Way to go.
Yeah. Well, he's not hanging in there with the producer, but he's there.
He's no Dana Vernetti.
Michael's donated before. Jeffrey Zinneman in South Euclid, Ohio, and Sir Brett Farrell, who I know where he's from. I don't know. I think he's in Oklahoma City, if I'm not mistaken. All of these folks, want to thank them for producing show 1301. We wouldn't get it done without you.
And Justin Clements, as an addition, says, credit this to my wife, Lisa, for her birthday. She's on the list for today. And could you de-douche her? Yes.
You've been de-douched.
And call out her brother as a douchebag. Douchebag. Always a pleasure. Thank you to these producers who gave up their time, their talent, talent, but here specifically their treasure to support and produce the best podcast in the universe, episode 1,301 episodes. And we also want to sincerely thank everyone who came on in under $50, typically for anonymity reasons, but also something I'd like everyone to take a look at, which is our sustaining donations, which is something that comes back every week or every month. You can kind of determine that yourself. We've got 3333s, 1111s, 1212s, just a whole bunch. And to learn more about that, you can do it by going to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And for the people who need it, and it seems to be several, some TPP Jobs Karma.
Jobs, and jobs. You've got karma.
It's your birthday on No Agenda.
Man, December 6th already. Here's the birthday list for No Agenda Nation. We heard Sir David Fugazotto saying happy birthday to Dame Isabella. She is turning 12, and Uncle Adam and Uncle John also congratulate on that. Chloe Gerard says happy birthday to her devastatingly handsome husband, Phil. He turns 38. He's a DILF. Justin Clements, happy birthday to his wife, Lisa, celebrating today. Aaron Chamberlain says happy birthday to his dad, Doug. He turns 60 tomorrow. Sir Matt Whiffen celebrating tomorrow. Barrett and Dirty Bangs, happy birthday to his son, Barrett Alexander Bangs, who turns 5 tomorrow. Peter Karnowski says happy birthday to Janelle Williams, 35 on Tuesday. And finally, Sir Matt Whiffen says happy birthday to his daughter, Victoria, and she'll be celebrating on December 10th. Happy birthday to all of you from the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Now, we have no title changes, but we have one... Yeah. We have 2 dames and 2 knights. It's balanced.
Yeah, let me look at this list because I've got a note here.
Oh, is there something amiss?
Well, I'm looking. Let me see. Do I have Dame Sierra?
Yes. Yep, we got Dame Sierra. We got Jenny. We got Mike. 2 mics. Mic check. We got it all?
Mic check. Yeah, that's all I wanted
all right.
to get.
Well, could you then give me your sword?
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Okay, good. All right, I'll get mine as well. Theater of the mind, people. Up on the podium, please. Jenny Naples Massey, Anonymous, Mike McRoberts, and Mike from Okita. We could never figure it out. Doesn't matter. Your name is about to change. As all of you, thanks to your support of the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more, are now not just eligible, but seated here at the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. And therefore, I'm very proud to pronounce the Dame Valentine of the Bluebird Powder region, Dame Sierra, Sir Reasonable Suspicious, Knight of the Thin Blue Line, and Sir Mike, Knight of All Tradition. For you, hookers and blow for the ladies. We got Renboys and Chardonnay. We got kebab and Persian wine. We got geishas and sake, bong hits and bourbon, ginger ale and gerbils, and the favorite of all, mutton and mead. Go to noagendanation.com/rings. Give Eric the Shill your deets. That's Millennial Talk for details. And that's like your 20, where you living, where we can get to you, where we can send off your ring, your sealing wax, and the coveted certificate of authenticity that you are now a knight/dame. Fill in your appropriate pronoun of the No Agenda Show. And again, thank you all for supporting us. And please remember to support the show for Thursday at Dvorak.org/NA.
No Agenda Meetups.
Yes. The meetups have been quite busy recently. We received 3 meetup reports. We're always happy to see how the slaves of Gitmo Nation are doing out and about as they thwart all rules and go for their personal protest. It is known as the site formerly as noagendameetups.com. We now, it is known as noagendaprotests.com. You are going to an official protest, although there's no triggering, no fighting, no yelling, just a good time to be had by all, such as occurred in Springfield at their super spreader event.
This is Caleb Brinkman, a.k.a. Brinkomania, coming at you live from Lindbergh's Tavern, where we are having the Springfield Super Spreader Meetup. And we're going to pass the phone around. So,
Anthony Trusnik here, Baron of the Philippines, defending people from interdimensional space demons. Brittany Trusnick, here with the Human Resource Vessel.
Dustin Rode here, and I kidnapped my mom and brought her to a meetup. Say hi.
Hi.
This is Sir Dulsaber, KK0DDD, on the ham, enjoying my first No Agenda meetup.
I'm Amanda Dulsaber. I hope to be a dame soon if my husband loves me.
If my husband loves me, I love the Human Resource Vessel. Have you noticed a lot of the dames of Gitmo Nation refer to themselves as a human resource carrier, vessel, incubator? It's kind of
somebody started that gag sometime back, and they all picked up on it.
Some trend. Yeah, I kind of like it. Bothell, come in with your report.
This is Sir Jared of South Burien, his wife Stephanie, and two of our human resources hosting the Bothell Breathe Easy Speak Easy. It's like a party.
Hi, this is Sir Vince, the Knight of Pacific Northwest. It's my first meetup, and the password is orgy.
Hi, Dunedin Ben here. My first meetup. It's pretty awesome. I'm a douchebag.
In the morning, this is Steven and our whole family.
Hi, I'm Athen. I'm 15.
Hi, I'm Asher. I'm 11.
I'm Hannah, and I'm their mom.
I am Maywen.
In the morning.
And I'm Noah.
In the morning, John and Adam. This is Odie and Tanash from Snohomish, Washington. Epstein didn't kill himself.
But I did hear he voted.
Hey, this is Bryce, and here I am at a genuine speakeasy, just like the Prohibition days.
Hey, this is Jacqueline. This is my first ever meetup, but I'm always happy to come super spread COVID with a bunch of people.
In the morning.
I hadn't heard that gag. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, but I hear he voted. That's pretty good.
Yeah. They're doing shtick.
They're doing shtick. And I think we're going to get a pronunciation guide here in the report from, this is the Cottage Country Meetup in Kawarthas. Is that how we pronounce it?
Hey, it's Sir Richard Dolishny of the Kawarthas. There you go. Those two tricky words that you never pronounce properly. We're having a great time here in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada.
This is Joe.
This is Alec of the Ghetto of Toronto. Stay safe, John.
Pete from Peterborough.
Carolyn Blaney from Hog Story
with
John Fletcher.
Hey. And this is Cold Acid, or Sir Acid of the Scandinavian Woods, and the Rare Encounter podcast from Cordes, not Cortez, Ontario. Get that right, please, John. Everyone? 3, 2, 1. In the morning!
And so concludes our meetup reports. It's beautiful to see everyone hanging out, having a good time. And coming up, we got a number of them this coming Saturday. That's December 12th. We got the Houston Raging Super Spreader Luncheon at Rodeo Goat. We've got the Eastern North Carolina Hot Pockets Christmas Bash at 2 o'clock. And that is, David Fox is organizing that. That's a good one. Go to noagendaprotests.com or noagendameetups.com to learn more. Also Columbus, Ohio, the Small Amygdala Meetup at 6 o'clock at Bruno's Pizza Restaurant. Saturday the 12th. Again, New Orleans area meetup, 3 o'clock at the River Shack Tavern in Jefferson, Louisiana. And finally, the Pittsburgh Christmas Party. Again, on December 12th, this coming Saturday, Emma Bloomer is organizing for you. And go to noagendameetups.com to find out exactly where. If there's not one near you, it's very simple. Why don't you make one for yourself? Start it. noagendameetups.com. They are like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. Everybody feels the same. It's like a
party. Yo, yo.
Well, we can get lucky today and get the show in under 3 hours.
Doubtful.
I have an Ask Adam.
Oh, my.
Ask Adam.
Okay.
Currently, the Rohingyas are being rousted from Bangladesh. This is the group that was kicked out of Southeast Asia. And
right, out of Myanmar? That's the guys?
Yeah, Myanmar, those guys. And so they're being rousted because, I guess, I don't know, these people have nothing but bad luck.
Well, they're Muslims. Get them out. Isn't that what happened?
They're being moved to an island. A lot of Bangladeshis are Muslim.
An island.
Yeah, and this is just a little piece of this report from Democracy Now. Ironically, that's a clue, by the way.
Yeah.
To what I want you to answer is what stands out as very odd in this report?
In Bangladesh, human rights advocates are condemning the relocation of thousands of Rohingya refugees to an isolated island hours away from the mainland. Police Thursday escorted refugees who were put on buses for the long trek from Cox's Bazar to a port town where they'll be put on boats en route to Bhasan Char Island, which is prone to flooding, frequent cyclones, and only emerged from the ocean 2 decades ago. The island's never been inhabited. 2 aid workers told Reuters refugees were pressured into move by government officials who threatened them or offered them cash in exchange. Human Rights Watch called the refugees' relocation, quote, nothing short of a dangerous mass detention of Rohingya people in violation of international human rights obligations.
Okay, I think I know this one. I don't often get these right, but this one stuck out like a sore thumb. What is wrong with this report? You ready?
Yeah.
The island that appeared 2 decades ago? What happened to global warming? Wouldn't the islands disappear?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Bhasan Char Island, which is prone to flooding, frequent cyclones, and only emerged from the ocean 2 decades ago.
This is from the big global warmist.
Wow.
How do you explain an island?
Unbelievable.
Emerging in the last 20 years when they should all be sinking.
This is so off message. I mean, this is so off message. Let's just, I do have a few global warming Great Reset clips to go through just before we get out. I know the affiliates are getting angry, but Dr. Tedros is doing the connecting for all of us. He, of course, is the shill from the World Health Organization.
And we must not go back to the same exploitative patterns of production and consumption, the same disregard for the planet that sustains all life, the same cycle of panic and neglect, and the same divisive politics that fueled this pandemic. The pandemic has brought us to a fork in the road.
Oh, a fork in the road.
Behind us lies the path of business as usual.
Okay.
The path that led us to this crisis.
Hey, the mason jar that you're digging peanut butter out of or something, it really reads on the mic. So just a little bit away from. I'm
not even going to touch that thing again for a year.
I don't want to mute you. I mean, in case you have something to say. So here we go.
Before us lies a new path, a path on which nations do not see themselves as rivals in a zero-sum game.
Oh!
But as fellows, travelers, with the same aspirations, hopes, and dreams.
Oh.
We're fellow travelers with same aspirations, hopes, and dreams. A vision that affirms our common history and our common future. That recognizes we're richer for our diversity and that we are more than the sum of our parts. Our diversity is our beauty and even our strength. 75 years after its birth, the United Nations remains more relevant than ever and more essential than ever.
What?
Well, what he's saying is
we listen to these guys. I have the UN secretary delivering bad news.
And I want you to do that, and I want you to finish with that. After we go through the New Zealand Prime Minister, because she takes the cake. She is the #1 rule follower of the United Nations, World Health Organization, Build Back Better, Great Reset. Producers in New Zealand, I would strongly encourage you to get out while you can. This woman is out of control.
Mr. Speaker, I think the first and most important point to make is that this is a declaration based on science.
Science!
The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the preeminent scientific body in the world on this matter, has determined that in order to avoid A situation, a disastrous 1.5 degrees Celsius rise in global temperatures and beyond, a rise that would see increased risk to human health and livelihood, civil unrest, mass drought, mass disease, loss of lands and homes, increased fires, increased tropical storms, mass human displacement and globally exhausted resources, then we must act with urgency, Mr. Speaker, to ensure global emissions fall to net zero by 2050. It means consigning our region to a devastating reality that if we are responsible members of the Pacific, we cannot and will not accept. Mr. Speaker, this declaration is an acknowledgement of the next generation, an acknowledgement of the burden that they will carry if we do not get this right and if we do not take action now. As a government, we are also announcing the carbon neutral government program that requires government organisations to be carbon neutral by 2025. We must.
Oh yeah! Woo! 4 years to go.
We must get our own house in order. How can we stand and take a leadership position amongst the private sector unless we take the same action that we expect of them? It will require government agencies to measure and reduce their emissions, and if they are unable to achieve carbon neutrality, they must offset.
Oh, there it is. If you can't do it, you gotta pay. That's what the offset means. This, I had so much hope for people in New Zealand. It's just a bunch of sheep farmers who are getting hoodwinked. Hoodwinked. 2025.
That crap.
2025. All right.
I want to play for the next show. I'm going to tease it.
Okay.
Jason Kenney.
He's great.
He's the premier of Alberta.
Yeah.
Lays it into the Great Reset.
You don't want to play these now on today's show?
Okay, let's play it now. This is Jason Kenney, who tells it like it is.
What I saw? This is almost like a podcast he's doing.
Somebody is a call-in show and he's answering questions.
Yeah,
that's the premier.
I think this is the way to go. Just a call-in show. All right. Any lead in for one?
No, but it's about the Great Reset and this conspiracy. Everyone kind of thinks it's some sort of conspiracy, and he's just debunking that and saying that we're not doing any of this crap.
All right, Ricky Butterworth, or it might be Cindy Butterworth, says, where do you stand on the Great Reset the Liberals are planning on introducing? Well, let me just say that, first of all, what is this Great Reset? Pierre Poilievre, the federal conservative finance critic, recently raised concerns about this, and then he was attacked by some in the media and by the Liberals for supposedly circulating conspiracy theories. Well, the Great Reset is actually the name of a book by a very prominent advocate of it. His name is Klaus Schwab. He sent me a copy. I guess he sent one to probably every government leader around the world. And Klaus Schwab's thesis in his book is that governments and societies, the world, should, quote, seize the opportunity of the public health and economic crisis to reimagine the world and radically change policies. Now, in what ways? I would describe it as a grab bag of left-wing ideas for less freedom and more government, for more government intervention, for policies that would, I think, create massive poverty, particularly energy policies that he is advocating. So Klaus Schwab, by the way, is the president and founder of the World Economic Forum, also known as the Davos Summit. I call it the biggest gathering of global hypocrites in history. It's a little ski village in Switzerland, and every, I think, February, a couple of thousand super rich people, a lot of billionaires, millionaires, global CEOs, and politicians fly into Davos with hundreds of private airplanes. They go into Switzerland, and they spend a week basically lecturing the rest of the world, including especially working women and men, about how they should reduce their carbon footprint. The hypocrisy in that crowd is so thick you can't even cut it with a knife.
How much power does this guy have as the premier?
He's basically a governor, like the governor of Connecticut, the governor's Gavin Newsom level.
Well, pretty powerful.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
Does he also eat at French Laundry, at the Le French Laundry, as they call it in Scandinavia?
I don't know what in Alberta. There'll probably be a couple of cool places in Edmonton.
Might be.
But they're not shut. I don't think they're shut down. He's one of those guys, he's not
shutting down. All right, good. He's better than New Zealand.
No comparison. Let's play part 2.
The hypocrisy in that crowd is so thick you can't even cut it with a knife. And so, no, I'm not going to be taking any policy direction from Klaus Schwab or his ilk. And what I find offensive, look, the so-called Great Reset is not a conspiracy theory. It is an actual set of concrete proposals being advocated by some very influential people, and including apparently by Prime Minister Trudeau, who clearly alluded to it, referred to it, quoted from it, the Schwab theory, in a speech he gave to the United Nations a couple of months ago. So it's not a conspiracy theory to talk about that. Those are the folks advocating it. And I think it's perfectly legitimate for democratically elected leaders for me to say, heck no, we're not going to exploit or take advantage of a crisis to advance a political agenda. If we're actually all in this together, like we keep saying, then how about we focus on the crisis, on protecting lives and livelihoods, helping people get through this, and how about after that, instead of exploiting the crisis to impose on democratic societies a whole bunch of failed socialist policy ideas, how about instead we get refocused on generating economic growth, on recreating some of the trillions of dollars of wealth that will have been destroyed, of restarting some of the hundreds of thousands of businesses that will have gone under, of obsessively focusing on getting the millions, the tens of millions around the world back to work. Those who have suffered most in the COVID era have been the poorest around the world. And so the notion that we would then drive them further into energy poverty through Klaus Schwab's policy agenda is, I just frankly find it offensive.
Very curious how this guy, A, got elected, and B, is still alive.
Well, he's in the rich province.
Okay.
And it's oil rich. Alberta is, for all practical purposes, the Texas
of Scandinavia. Yes. Okay, well, of course. Then he represents his constituency very well. But he might as well learn how to sing. He better learn how to sing it.
For a better life beyond your freedom, build back better for someone else.
That's right, everybody. Build back better for someone else. It's what they really want you to do.
I think that's it.
Yep. I'm done. I'm done. You're done. We're all done. There is some cool stuff to talk about on Thursday, though. There's some new OTG things I'd like to discuss.
OTG, going OTG.
Also, need to look at some of the incoming Biden cabinet administration. As the mainstream is shuffling us right through there. We just have to... It's happening. It's what it is. There's no going back.
We should have a betting pool on who's going to be picked for what.
Okay, we can do that.
Because basically, you take a look at everyone who's in Obama's administration and figure out where they're going to put them.
Coming up next on NoAgendaStream.com, we've got the Grumpy Old Bens, and I have a lot of submissions, but only 2 end-of-show mixes for this show. I'll move the other ones to Thursday. We have Tom Starkweather and Noah's Archetyperix, I believe is how I pronounce it. Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas, FEMA region number 6 on all the governmental maps. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA until Thursday in the morning, everybody. Oh, hey, Madam Curry.
and from Northern Silicon Valley, where we're supposedly shut down, but people seem to be driving all over the place. I'm John Cedar.
We return on Thursday right here on No Agenda. Remember us at thevorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
I am counting absentee ballots that Biden needs to win the vote real soon. And there's no poll watchers in this room. 4 more hours to scan this pile, but I am tempted to keep Biden alive until he gets a disease and resigns. 'Cause I wonder sometimes about the outcome of a still contested election. Will they certify? Will they certify? Will they certify? Why, Georgia, why? I'll bring a suitcase and fill the pockets with printed ballots. I'll scan, no one will know, because now I'm all alone. Well, it might be a constitutional crisis, or just some changing of some votes. But either way, I wonder sometimes about the outcome of a Sidney Powell lawsuit. Will they certify? Will they certify? Will they certify? Why, Georgia, why? So what? I've committed voter fraud. It's hiding the quiet majority Trump had. Don't believe me. Don't believe me when I say I've never lied. I love you, Joe. Good night, sweet prince.
We're gathered here tonight to ensure a very important word, ensure. And cucumbers. Who does cucumbers around here? Because I like cucumbers. I'm the only one. I like cucumbers. President Trump won, as we said, both in Florida and in Ohio. But we will still win it. We will still win it. We'll still win it. Let me tell you, this election was rigged. Very simply, you will decide whether your children will grow up in a socialist country or whether they will grow up in a free country. And they're trying to convince us that we lost. We didn't lose. They found a lot of ballots, to be nice about it. They got rid of some, and I felt so good. But I met them. I met them. There were 33 of them standing, and they were all in line. What do you do? I have this one. We won Georgia, just so you understand. And we won Florida. And we won a lot of places. You got hit by a piece of a hurricane. Remember that? The farmers got hit so hard. President Trump received more votes than any previous incumbent president. And we lost. And we lost. Again, all I can do is say, I'm running, win, and then do a good job as president. And so I don't run the elections. I don't run to see if people are walking in with suitcases and putting them under a table with a black robe around it.
Mofo. Dvorak.org/NA.
You're like, God, you sound crazy. No.